New Madrid! Oh my god! Alright, welcome back, Lelanders. I'm just going to send out a message to the Discord group, let them know that we have an emergency broadcast going. I know I'm laughing a little bit, but I'm trying to relieve some stress because this has been something I've been watching for over, I think, close to 10 years now. So let's send it out. Now, one of my friends that helped me with ancient mystery research in the past happens to be in Mexico, and if anyone's heard, they just had a 7-pointer. I know Irish, they had it listed as a 7.4. I think people in Mexico have been calling it a 6, so I don't know what the actual measurement is. But the biggest news of all isn't even that Mexico quake. Dear God, the New Madrid quake. Now, if anyone's ever heard of the New Madrid fault line, you're probably freaking out right now too. But if you haven't, tune in because we got some lot to cover on the show today. No, I don't mean to make light of this situation, but I'm trying not to freak out here. I don't know, I always thought this quake was never going to happen in our lifetime. Let's pray it doesn't, but let's check out what's happening. Alright, so some people have never heard of the New Madrid fault line before. Let's just give a little quick update about why this is important. Oh God. No, I'm going to try to laugh here, not to get too freaked out. Now we're going to check it on the gravity well map because I'll show you some more details, but dear God, let's check out what we got now. Now this is a compilation image that I made, I think back in 2013. There was a whole series of large booms that have been shaking different parts of the East Coast. So people are like, holy crap, man, what are these giant booms? Why is my house shaking? Why do I hear giant explosions under the ground? And a lot of the news agencies tried to call them ice quakes, saying that they were like ice under the ground that was like causing the ground to explode and make huge explosion noises, shake people's houses. And rightfully so, a lot of the weathermen at the time were saying, what the hell are you guys talking about? We've had cold weather on the East Coast for like 30 years of broadcasting. We've never had these booms or ice quakes before. So why was the media or the scientists so sure that that's what was causing it? So other people went into the history records and they found out that there was large booms in the past. Let's see if we can find them. Yeah, so what happened is there's large booms that were heard in the past just before the New Madrid quake went off. So that's why a lot of people back in 2013, they thought the New Madrid quake was going to go any day. But then for some reason it stopped. So if some people are wondering what could have caused it to stop and why it's going now, well, I think what the US's plan is they took out all the lubrication in between the plates of the New Madrid fault. So you can see here on the right hand side of the screen, we've got all the shale gas, or basically the fracking operations. And what they did is they took out all the oil, or not all, but a good chunk of it, so that these plates could no longer shift. So when those booms started happening and the earthquake wanted to happen, it got stuck because all of a sudden there wasn't any lubrication from all that oil from the fracking. So I think oddly enough, the fracking might have actually delayed this earthquake by a decade. But now it appears that we can see here from Iris that the New Madrid quake is no longer going to remain dormant, that it is starting to activate. It had a 4.2 magnitude quake. Whew. So yeah, if that means that it's starting to reactivate, usually how earthquakes go, I don't know, we can see if we got any big ones in the past. Normally when you have a really big one, what happens is there's a few smaller ones before, so that there's like at least a little bit of warning, and then the big one comes. Or sometimes it just goes right to the big one. So yeah, so let's look at the Sandwich Island one. So you can see the Sandwich, or the Philippines, the Sandwich Island region. They had little smaller quakes, and then boom, all of a sudden the big one happened, 8.1, 7.5. So let's pray to God that this is not what's going to happen with the New Madrid. Because if you see a 4.2 here, that means there's a possibility we could have an 8 any second now. And why I'm kind of freaking out, I live in the devastation path. So if this earthquake actually occurs, boom, I'm directly affected by it. I know some people might be laughing their ass off. How the hell is the earthquake going to affect you in Canada if it's all the way down in the southern states? I'll show you why. So if anyone hasn't heard, the earthquake zone on the east coast of the Americas is actually way worse than the west coast. I'm not sure exactly the geology of it, but earthquakes that happen in softer rock usually dissipate quicker and don't go as far. But because we're on the east coast, we have a lot of granite, I believe, and that's why these earthquakes, when they happen, it's like 10 times the strength and magnitude just because of the rock type. So it's like you could have a 5 and it'll seem like a 10. So it's like if that's 6 in 1985 or 1895, it rocked all the way from the southern states and it was ringing church bells in Toronto. So that's only a few miles from me, about 100 kilometers. So I'm definitely within the path of damage here. Now here they were showing damage, and this was in 1895. So can you imagine what the damage is going to be like if this is in modern times compared to what it was then? It was a massive disaster back then. Here, let me bring up the New Madrid fault. New Madrid fault wiki. Now I'm just searching on Google. Alright, let's go the 1811, 1812 quakes. We'll bring that up so we can get some information about how bad these quakes have been in the past, as an indicator of what could happen in today or even this week. So in 1811, there was a series of intense earthquakes, beginning with 7.2 on 1811, followed by a 7.4 aftershock on the same day. 2 additional earthquakes of similar magnitude followed in January of 1812. They remain the most powerful earthquakes to hit the United States east of the Rocky Mountains in recorded history. The earthquakes, as well as the seismic zone of their occurrence, were named for the Mississippi River town of New Madrid, then part of the Louisiana Territory and now within the U.S. state of Missouri. I actually have some friends in Missouri, so I'm definitely praying that everything's going to be okay there. All right, so let's check out. What does it have on this article? I haven't read it in years, so we'll have to see. All right, so there was different native tribes that had talked about the earthquake. That's what it's got. I wonder if it'll talk about the booms at all in here. Now, the one thing that really got me fishy with this research is in the past, Google, like, you know how I use my gravity well maps? They used to have the New Madrid quakes on there. Like, you could look it up in the past, see where they occurred and stuff, but they removed all that from Google. So right away I was very suspicious. Why did Google remove all the earthquake data from the most important earthquake region we need to track in the world, especially for the US? So that was a little suspicious to me. I had a feeling that the government was already on to what was happening with this New Madrid fault line, and they've just allowed it to happen. I don't know if anyone's heard of like the different warnings that we've got over the years about some major disaster coming to the US. There was a call on Art Bell's show, Coast to Coast AM, many years ago, and one of the Area 51 workers called in and warned the government knew the major disaster was coming. They could move people away from the areas that were going to be destroyed, but they refused to do so. So that's why he left Area 51 and he became a whistleblower, and sadly, we don't know what happened to the guy. There was a Tool song that was made in honor to that guy. He said his signal was being triangulated. The satellite or receiver went down, and the whole radio station went off the air. So later, there was a hoaxer that tried to take claim as that he was the person calling from Area 51, but he could not imitate the guy's voice, and he could not explain how the satellites all went down when the Area 51 caller was calling in to warn. What the Area 51 caller said was that there was energy light beings that were in charge of what was going on at the base, and that these interdimensional beings, they had no problems with humanity getting wiped out. So that's why he was very concerned. So we're going to bring through a lot more of this information. I think we're okay to talk about on YouTube. As far as I know, they haven't banned talking about this on YouTube yet. So that's why I figured let's do the show right away so that we can actually find out. Oh God, I'm hearing large explosions outside. Or is that a train? Oh, thank God, it's just a train. No, for the next little while, any train that goes by, I'm going to be like, oh God, is that the next one? No, I am going to try to laugh and not get too freaked out here, guys, because this is a pretty intense storm possibility. So yeah, there's been a series of New Madrid quakes. It says here, holy shit, they go back to like thousands of BC. I don't know how they would know about those ones. If anyone wants to write in the chat if they've heard about the quakes in the past. No, what I'm wondering too is we've noticed a lot of coincidences with dates repeating. You notice how like the big pandemic of the Spanish flu happened to be on the same like 100-year anniversary. So this is weird how like this quake is happening on another anniversary of not 100 years, but I think 2. I'd have to calculate it. If anyone's good at math, you can calculate that for me. So I'm just a little bit freaked. I know it's basic math, doing hundreds, but so holy God, man, I can't believe that it's reactivated. Our New Madrid earthquake of the 20s was a 5.4 in 1968. So that's the last time it's gone off, or no? Yeah, they even installed equipment to make sure they could monitor it very closely because they know that it has potential to completely destroy the entire United States East Coast. And if people might be thinking I'm exaggerating about the entire U.S. East Coast being destroyed, wait till you see what I got coming next. Dear God, man. No, what happened was, here, I'll bring up the picture. What I illustrated in this picture is not only is the shale gas related to this quake, but also the nuclear power plants. Oddly enough, coincidence or not, maybe because it's near the water and they need water to cool the reactors, but sadly, the US has built almost all of their nuclear power plants directly on the fault. So it's like, that's like a fucking recipe for disaster like you would not believe. And the other thing that makes it worse, I don't know if anyone's heard, but nuclear power plants no longer have anywhere to dump the waste. So guess what they've been doing? They've been stockpiling it next to the fucking reactors. So dear God, each one of these reactors has giant stockpiles of nuclear waste sitting right next to it. So not only will the reactors go during this quake, but all the nuclear waste will go with it. So I think we could be facing the greatest disaster humanity has ever perceived. And I don't want to freak people out, but dear God, man, if I was in this area, I would be preparing. Like I'm even preparing now. I'm getting my generators and stuff ready, or not generator, the lithium backup battery, just so that if everything goes down, I can start charging. And I'm pretty sure if this goes, they're going to shut down the internet. Because they've been talking over and over and over, that Klaus Schwab guy, he even did a speech this week. They're planning on shutting down the internet on everyone. So can you imagine if this damn earthquake destroys the entire East Coast and then they cut off our internet on top of it? That's going to be like everyone's communication lines down. So I'm not looking forward to this quake getting bigger and worse. But dear God, man, if it does, we're going to be watching it. So I'm just going to refresh the image from the... what is it, the seismic place, and see if we can get like some updates of what's happening. All right, so far so good. The New Madrid quake is still just at a 4.2. We haven't seen any more. All right, so what I'm going to do, if anyone's not familiar with gravity well maps before, they're very similar to ley lines, and they also can show earthquake locations. So you can see here that these two X's, these are the spots that mark the spot for when Google used to have the historical quakes. You could see crap loads went on this X and crap loads went on this X. And this one is the New Madrid area. So I'll try to bring up some historical quakes and see if they've updated it. Maybe we could pray to God and they've updated it so that we can see the past ones. All right, major earthquakes, 1900 and on. Oh, so this won't show it because it's 1900 and on. Damn. Yeah, it doesn't show any for Oklahoma or there. All right, so we'll have to take that one off. Damn, I still can't believe they took away all the earthquake data right when we needed it. Sons of bitches, man. I don't know, whoever's in charge at Google, it's almost like they do it on purpose, right? Every time you need something, they take it away. God. All right, so I put up earthquakes, 2.5 and above, and it's not loading. Oh, there we go. It's loading. All right, so we can see that Oklahoma and the other X have been more active recently. We got a few in that region and a few in this region. Let's check what we got for the New Madrid. Which one is the New Madrid? Tennessee. Tennessee. Do they not have it on here? I guess this is supposed to be in real time. Does anyone know where the New Madrid one is? Let me just type New Madrid and see if it goes right to it. Now, apparently what happened was the quake was so big that they ended up naming part of the region after it. Or no, it was the other way around. Yeah, they named it after. Okay, so there's... Is that where the quake was? No. So I don't know why they said the New Madrid quake and it's still not updated on Google. It says it's updating in real time. It could be because it just happened a couple minutes ago. I don't know. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh God, we got to do the stream and let everyone know that this could... Holy shit, it's right in the center of the two X's, eh? So I don't know. Does this New Madrid area extend over towards the X? Because I don't know. On all the other maps, they show it in a different location. Why is it showing there? Alright, let's bring up the other map again. Okay, so there's that area there. So I guess the epicenter would have been there. Yeah, right where that river is. So that is right. So that is where the New Madrid quake epicenter might be occurring. Holy shit, not far from St. Louis. So if anyone's in the St. Louis area, I'm not telling you to panic. I'd just be getting some normal safety stuff ready. Just in case you're like preparing for hurricanes for the next few years or whatever you have ready. It's like, it couldn't hurt to get some of that stuff ready. Definitely don't panic, but I don't know, my friend that's in Mexico, she showed the video of what's happening on the streets in Mexico right now. I don't know, should I show that to everyone? Yeah, she was just showing, and like there was lineups of people running, panicking, trying to get into Walmart or getting out of Walmart. I couldn't tell which, and they're trying to get maybe supplies. So I don't know. Let's look at Mexico. Oh, there it is. Is the 7 on here yet? No, they haven't added even the Mexico quake yet. So it's not just the New Madrid one. Whatever Google's done with the files, they've even had it so we can't see modern earthquakes that are occurring in real time anymore, or at least they're just going slow. Hopefully it'll be updated at any moment. So I don't know if anyone's got any reports of feeling the earthquake in New Madrid, or if they've had reports of feeling it in Mexico. Just let us know in the chat and we'll try to cover some of it. Dear God. No, you can just imagine though, if all of a sudden all the nuclear power plants all melted down on the entire East Coast, can you imagine the disaster? How are governments ever allowed something like this to shape up? Like every day I kept looking at how the governments are just piling the waste next to the nuclear reactors right on the fault line. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose, right? Like I know some people get too conspiratorial. Me, I try to stay away from it, even though it seems like a lot of times I get involved in it. But no, like I try to always find the logical explanation, not get too conspiratorial. But dear God, man, why the hell did they pile all the waste right on the fucking the fault line? Could they have put it anywhere worse? Like, really, I don't think you could put it anywhere worse. Like, you literally put it in the exact spot that's the highest risk. So that's why I'm very skeptical every time the government says they're doing something for your own good. It's like, if you're doing stuff for your own good, then why the hell would you pile all the nuclear waste on the fucking reactors next to them, especially on fault lines? Sons of bitches. All right, so anyways, we're going to have to... What is going on? Why are they showing so many borders and places? Get off of there, pieces of shit. I was wondering why it was lagging so bad. There we go. Still it's showing... Oh, that's the earthquake ones. That's why. Alright, so it kind of sucks, man, that I can't show the live earthquakes happening. Maybe I'll check, see if I got any other earthquake files that I can bring up here. Oh man, I think what I'll do is I'm going to bring up the I felt it reports. I know I've got some of those reports. I know it sounds funny, I felt it, but that's what they call this website that has all the I felt it experiences from the latest earthquakes. Alright, so we got some biggest quake. Oh, there's some occurring in Russia as well, just 31 minutes ago. Alright, so this is the I felt it reports from the Mexico quake. Well, we'll read and see what some people have been saying. All right, so this person was in Acapulco, I can't pronounce it, 7.5 kilometers from the epicenter. So we'll bring up this one. We'll see. Maybe they'll actually really update it, and it's just because we're so fast that we finished quick. They haven't caught up to what we were at yet. So anyways, let's see what he put. He said strong shaking, rattling, vibrating, 1 to 2 minutes. He says about 1 minute of shakes right at the coast, on the coast, Hotel Miranda, Acapulco. Damage to the buildings and people in the street. So praying for all the people in the street affected by this. This looks pretty epic. I know for Mexico, they've had big earthquakes in the past, so they're probably very well prepared for this. All right, so hundreds of miles from the epicenter hundreds of miles. I'm going to try to find some reports of people close. It's weird, like the only eyewitness reports I've seen so far is my one friend who's there, and I don't believe she even felt it unless she was farther away from the epicenter. I really don't know my Mexico geography that well, so I don't know where she is exactly. Oh, here we go. Mexico City, downtown. They said there was moderate shaking, complex rolling, tilting in multiple directions. Several minutes. They were on the 3rd floor of a modern hotel. The building was swaying back and forth like a boat for a very long time. It felt at least 5 minutes. I heard noises of things breaking inside the structure, so everyone evacuated. There was no visible damage, but they're not letting anyone back in until they inspect the structure. Oh dear God. You know, that's one of the worst repeating nightmares I've had over and over again. If anyone's watched my previous shows, you've heard me talk about it before. I was in a high-rise building, and it was just swaying back and forth, back and forth. One dream, it even swayed so far it hit the ground. So I was like, dear God, man, I sure hope that's not what's going to happen. All right, so we'll get some more I felt it reports. This person was, they don't list how far, moderate shaking, complex rolling. Our house seemed to be swinging in a circular motion for up to 60 seconds, they think. If they felt dizzy with a headache, and it was quite unusual because normally they don't get headaches. They estimated a 7.0. Good estimate. It came in at originally 7.4, but they've since lowered it to a 7. And they said that they're experienced with earthquakes. They've experienced 9 or 10 since 1973. Holy shit. Holy crap. Oh, so this person had moderate shaking, 30 to 60 seconds. All right, so moderate shaking, 30 to 60 seconds of buildings moving. Strong, sustained lateral rocking. We both felt dizzy, disoriented while working in separate rooms. We had time to meet in the kitchen to discuss the experience, relocate to a safer place, and continue to discussing the quake after. So that's another thing. I've actually been in earthquakes where I live in Canada. Oddly enough, we actually do have earthquakes in Canada. They don't make it in the news very often. And when I felt it, I definitely can relate to the nauseous. Like I was on the 3rd floor of a building when our last earthquake occurred here. And it literally felt like I was on a roller coaster. You know, when you go down the hill and all of a sudden your stomach starts to turn? It's like that's what happened to me in the earthquake. It felt like the entire earth was going down a hill that I was standing on. So it's like all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, we're going over an edge. But yeah, so when people are describing that feeling, I can definitely relate to that. All right, so here's a person with strong shaking. Single lateral shaking, 30 to 60 seconds. It was long, it was cutted. People are scared on the streets. All right, so holy crap. All right, I've just been reading so many of these. I got to go back to that and check to see what the other reports are. I'm just going to keep watching it probably all night tonight. All right, let's bring up the other map that shows the earthquakes. So this map is probably a little bit better than my Gravity Wall one, especially for right now. So is it going to allow me to click on it and bring up a larger? Apparently not. So I'll go back to here so that'll allow me to. And it still was trying to prevent me, but at least I was able to click it there. Alright, so this has happened on August the 24th, August the 13th, and September 8th. So we have had a couple smaller ones leading up, and they're getting bigger. Or actually, that one's pretty much a tie for the last one in Tennessee. Holy crap. Right, so I'm going to make it bigger so everyone can see it. That's what she said. Just kidding. All right, so let's go back to... Yeah, we checked that one out. Let's go check out the Mexico one again. All right, so definitely the biggest one right now is the Mexico quake. And, oh, they've had another aftershock since the 7. They've already had a 5 aftershock. So how much time was that in between? I think less than an hour, isn't it? Or could it be more? Yeah, less than an hour between. So that makes sense. If you have a 7-pointer, they're definitely going to have some more aftershocks. Whew. All right, so we'll check out the rest of the world situation, see what we got. I know they were just talking about ones in Russia. I don't see... Maybe this is the Russia, Ostrova region. Does anyone know that region? That's not Russia. Okay, so that region... Oh, yeah, that is Russia. What am I talking about? So, yeah, so that's the earthquake there. I thought we were looking at New Zealand for a second. Wow. All right, so we're going to keep this image on here, and we're going to keep refreshing it, and then I'm going to leave... Oh, let's go back to that big image. So we'll leave that on the screen for now. Let's make it bigger. And we're going to read some more I Felt It reports. I don't know if this image is just frozen and why it's not moving or what's happening. Maybe the bigger one doesn't move. All right, let's just go back to the regular size one because it's actually live. And I'll just make it bigger manually. Oh, now what do you know? It stopped it as well. Oh, well. But anyway, so yeah, if anyone else has got personal I Felt It reports. Oh, yeah, and then we got a viewer from one of the Lelanders who was doing a prank saying he died. And he would just like to let everyone know he's sorry for doing the prank. It went too far, and he is alive. So, yeah, I don't appreciate pranks, people saying they're dead. That's, like, really mean. So, try to avoid from, like, that type of prank. Other type of pranks, I'm not really a big... Don't hate so much, but man, telling everyone that you're dead or getting other people to say you died, that's pretty low, right? Like, I know it might sound silly, but... Alright, so, was a rare earthquake. The last was in 2017. Weak shaking, weak shaking. See, the people sometimes report it are far from the epicenter. Oh, moderate shaking. Mexico City, weak shaking. De Monte, moderate shaking, both vertical and horizontal. Oh, here we are, Mexico City. Still 300 kilometers from the epicenter, and they had strong shaking, both vertical, horizontal. Now, I know some people might be in the Mexico area for their first time, so you never know. Some people might report an earthquake is a lot stronger if they've never felt one before. But we did have a few people here in the chat, or on the I Felt It reports, that said they were actually very familiar. Oh, here we got one. 10 kilometers from Guerrero, or Acapulco de Juarez, Guerrero. Strong shaking, complex motion, difficult to describe. He says it lasted about 20 or 30 seconds. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even when I was in an earthquake, it was actually quite difficult to describe. Other than that, like, feeling of going on a roller coaster and you're over the edge. All right, moderate shaking, lateral shaking, headaches, side-to-side swinging. I felt dizzy with a light headache after it passed. Now, I was wondering, because our Great Lakes region in Canada here, it just had one of the biggest, like, wave storms where the waves in the Great Lakes were massive. People are drowning. Authorities were warning everyone, don't go in the water, even if it's, like, knee-deep. People are drowning in knee-deep water because the tide is that strong. And that's not really common for the Great Lakes. So right away I was like, holy crap, what's causing this? Is it the earthquake, or not the earthquake, the hurricane? I was thinking maybe it was the hurricane or maybe the moon. But what else could be causing like these giant waves? So it makes me wonder. There was actually a recent report where magnetic fields have been changing on the planet. So it could be something to do with that as well. Can you imagine we're stepping into the big polar flip that was predicted to occur? All right, so if anyone's got any questions in the chat, just let me know. I'm going to keep looking up. Let's go back to the gravity well map and see if it's been updated yet. Sure hope it has. Oh shit. We got an earthquake up north. St. Boniface. So I think that's in Quebec. Yeah, that's on the other fault line, the one that goes through. Let's bring up the fault lines on the map. I figure of all the things we should have on there right now, we should definitely have the plate boundaries. I always forget that the plate line thing doesn't show all the plates. I don't know who designed this for NASA or what, Google, but they only put plates here. Like, there's lots of other plates. There's a New Madrid plate. There's a St. Lawrence plate. So I don't know why they're not putting all these on the map, but... Alright, let's check what we got. Have they updated it yet? Oh, there it is. It is. They updated it. That's not the quake, though. So there's another little one? Or was that dot already there? Was anyone in the chat watching? Did that dot just appear? There we go. There's the 4.3. Is that the one? So maybe they called the New Madrid quake this one, even though New Madrid's over here. I don't know why they would do that unless it's like a big region. Maybe it has the same name right across. Or general area. Oh man, is this epic. No, the only other area that I'm a little bit concerned about is my friends in Romania and that region of the world. If anyone's seen the different earthquakes that have happened in the past there, we'll cover it now because we're waiting for the map to update. I'll bring on the yellow field. If anyone's wondering, the gravity well field comes in multiple colors that I've color coded it to. Yellow is a very important one. So I like to put it sideways to get a better perspective. And let's bring it on the historical quakes. And I'll put on the actual locations. See if it's... No, they didn't put the places. It's funny, it's like I type places. No, it's not that one. It's like, why would you not have places? There we go. Alright, so let's bring up the historical quakes. Hell, I'll add all the earthquake files I got here. Well, I think I got enough memory on my computer to open them all. So if people can see, in the past, Romania has had a whole bunch of quakes right around this region. See what ones they've had recently. Holy shit. Did that one just happen recently? What was the date for that one? September 1st. Oh my god. So that means that Romania's big one could be happening any minute as well. I'm sure hoping this isn't like a worldwide event where it's like all the big ones that have been overdue are just about ready to burst. I noticed something weird when I've been tracking earthquakes for the past 10 years. Usually we had a lot of activity and we seem to, I don't know, for like the past 4 years or even 2 years, it died down significantly. I know Michio Kaku, or who was it? One of the most famous physicists on TV. He went on TV and said that on average that the Earth has a 7-pointer every like month. But then we went like 2 years without any of them, or at least not any big ones. So I'm really starting to get worried about the Romania area. Dear God, man, if they actually had recent ones. If anyone's been tracing the history of earthquakes recently, they went through with Croatia having a few. So when I seen it coming up this direction, going through Croatia and stuff, I was like, holy shit, they're going towards the Romania one again. Holy fuck, man. I should have put Romania in the title too. I can't believe that they're starting to go active again. I don't know, people in Romania, if you're in the chat, how often do you normally have big earthquakes? I don't know, let's see, 1977, 1940, 1990. So that is pretty often, I guess. Now, if anyone's wondering how these gravity well maps are calculated, you basically just take the... Alright, let's turn off all the earthquake stuff, and I'll come right back to it in a sec. So we can give people, all the viewers, an idea that haven't heard of gravity wells before, why I even use this map to track earthquakes. So we'll get rid of the blue lines because the yellow is the basic to explain how to draw this map. So what you do in ancient times, they used to have maps called Great Circle maps. And we used Great Circle maps for thousands of years. And it was only in modern times did we switch to a different style for making maps. And yeah, it's also a very popular map making system for Freemasons. They were actually the ones that invented the tools to measure great circles. And great circles that you'll be familiar with today, we have the equator. So equator is basically a line that goes around the whole globe, the actual full distance, cutting it in half. In a traditional map, as soon as you go up to the next line, this would be the spot of like the tropic lines. So the tropic lines are the same thing, but except on a modern map, they get smaller when they go around the globe. So instead of making it smaller, I went with the great circle map style and drew it completely around the globe so that it doesn't get smaller. It's the same, just like the equator. And then I do the same thing for the Arctic Circle and the pole. So it's like all these measurements are not made up. These are actual, like, determined by actual, like, light measurements. How they determine the equator and the tropic lines is they measure the equinox. So where the equinox occurs at certain times, then they can mark it. So if anyone's wondering why I believe that these great circle maps show gravity, is you can see when you add the blue lines to this. Oh, let's show Australia before we do. And why is the yellow line all freaking complex here? I shouldn't have that many on there. Second yellow layer. No, let's go for first yellow layer. Oh my god, what is wrong with these layers? God, I had it ready just before, like a couple days ago. Now all of a sudden they're not ready. Sons of bitches. Alright, so you can see that different continents usually get illustrated quite well by how the gravity well maps line up. So you can see that they're dividing the land almost perfectly in many positions. Like, look at the Africa one, right? India. Southeast Asia. Australia. Then you look at the continents, or the poles. You can see that that's where the big ridge occurs. So some people might think, oh, that's not really enough to make it anything significant. Let's look at the blue layer. So once you add the blue layer, you can start to see that these lines are literally cutting the continent. I know some people might think it's a coincidence, but man, I don't think it is, and a lot of researchers don't. I'm not the only one now that believes that these gravity well maps are accurate, especially since I didn't make any of these lines up. These are just measured off actual measuring points. Alright, so that's just the basics. And oh yeah, the most famous gravity well map of them all, it happens to be Perry Reese's map. If people have watched Ancient Aliens before, you've probably seen the Perry Reese map. I think what I'll do is I'll put this up because people don't really need to see the other titles, and we'll make this a little bit bigger. Alright, so that's just the basics of how a gravity well map works, and we'll bring back just the yellow layer for now. And we'll bring back the earthquakes, and I'll check what's happened since I started talking here. Hopefully there's not going to be any major volcanic eruptions. I haven't checked the volcanic activity yet. We'll probably check that very shortly. Oh yeah, the other one that most people are probably wondering about is Montana. What is it? What is that? Mount St. Helen? Let's check how that area is going. I know a lot of people have been concerned about that one going as well. There it is. Oh, fuck, man. Why is it saying Washington? Oh, yeah, there's more than one Washington. Come on, guys. Can't you come up with new names for your places? Why you gotta name them all the same? Alright, so Mount St. Helens. Looks like we're okay. Oh, wait. We got a couple there. No, those are historical ones. Let's check. 2001. Yeah, so we're okay there. And the other major earthquake that's been on the prediction chart for a lot of people is Portland. Portland is apparently going to be completely destroyed within our lifetimes. Well, I guess people are dying all the time, so it's not everyone's lifetime, but that's one of the big predictions a lot of people have been saying. Especially Billy Meyer. I don't know if anyone's heard of Billy Meyer. He's one of the UFO contactees that's stood up to the most credibility tests to this day. And he believes that aliens contacted him and told him that Portland will be destroyed by an earthquake. That was 1983, 7, right on the line. So yeah, that's what we're looking at for Portland. And I should really go to the boom stories. Because I want to, or wait, what was it, the booms? Yeah, let's go to the boom story. All right, let's go New Madrid booms. I'll try to find an image for it and see if we can got... here it is. Here's a good one. So someone made an image for it. I'll try to open it on the screen. Hopefully no boobs show up. If they did, I have no idea how they got there. Alright, so here's the areas experiencing the loud booms. Yeah, and it was occurring a lot in the same pattern of the New Madrid quake. Holy fuck, right? So I don't know, for me, I was a little bit disappointed with the research into the booms because I was like, oh, these booms were supposed to mean that the earthquake was going to happen at any day. But then years passed and it never happened. Then a decade passed and it still didn't happen. The only thing I can explain it is the shale. How they took out the lubrication between the plates to try to delay the earthquake. Now, obviously, people might not have been doing it like intentionally. And they just took the oil out of those plates because that's where oil is. It's always between the plates. There was actually a debate on Facebook today where people are joking. They're saying, why do you keep calling fossil fuels like made from animals? Everyone knows that fossil fuels don't really come from fossils. But then I looked it up on Wikipedia and it still lists that as fossil fuels apparently coming from animals decaying. But the major flaw to this theory is that a lot of the retractors have been saying this is complete bullshit, is that oil is on all the other planets' moons. So how did oil and gas and all these fossil fuels get on Mars? How'd they get on Jupiter? How'd they get on all these other places? Unless they had tons of animals that died, right? So that's another theory to say that the government isn't telling the whole story about how oil and all this stuff works. They've really been covering it up for, like, I don't know, either just saying it by accident wrong or they're actually intentionally covering up. It's hard to say one or the other. All right, so we do got a like. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. And yeah, if anyone wants to join in the chat, just let me know. I'll try to answer any questions. Sorry, I got my head blocking some of the screen, so it's hard to see. All right, so let's get back to that other image, or not the other image, the I felt it reports. No, not yet. The seismic monitor. Let's check it out. All right, let's see what we got for the latest quakes. Right, so the last one still in that region. We've got 4.9 in Mexico, the New Madrid, and the Mexico one that was a 7. I'm going to check and see if there's any more I felt it reports that came in. God, I love reading the I felt it reports because, like, hearing from people on the ground about what they actually felt, that's where it gets to me. I'm like, holy crap, man. People actually felt this. And some of the reports are crazy. Like when they tell like what's actually happening, people getting crushed, or not crushed, people running for their lives. It's quite intense to read it. All right, so even this person, 352 kilometers away from the epicenter in the Mexico quake, they felt very weak shaking, but they still got very nauseated. So that's what I was thinking. I felt very weak shaking as well for Canada's last big earthquake, but same thing. I still got nauseated, which I was surprised. I was like, holy shit, like, why am I so nauseous? But it was basically because the ground moved. I've never anticipated the ground to move, right? Especially if you live in Canada, we're not very common for earthquakes. It's like once every 10 years or so that we get one that you can actually feel. And it's always like a 4 or a 3, so very small. Yeah, so just that one report from the hotel. We still don't have any more. So we'll see what other earthquakes. Now, if anyone wants to check out the website I'm reading, this is the one it's called. It's called Volcano Discovery, and then they have I Felt It reports. All right, so did anyone feel the New Madrid one? They don't even call it a New Madrid one on this, eh? I wonder why it's like such a weird discrepancy. Some people are calling it a New Madrid quake, others are not. So this one was about an hour ago. Okay. Did anyone report it felt? I'm clicking it and it's not doing anything, so maybe that means no one's reported it yet. No, clicking that one didn't do it either, so we'll try. Okay, so we got some detailed information from the Missouri quake. Oh, there's where it occurred. So that's nice to actually be see. Let's see if there's any I felt it reports. I don't believe we have any I felt it reports yet. Oh, here it is. Illinois, not felt, not felt, not felt. So a lot of, oh, here it is. One person felt very weak shaking, 5 to 10 seconds. So it seems like these quakes that are happening in the New Madrid, thank God, are small for now. Make this a little bit bigger so we can read it. All right, so was anyone... Holy shit, they were only 18 kilometers and they didn't feel it, which I'm not surprised. When in Canada, when we have like a... Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. In Canada, when we have a big quake like a 4 or a 5, it's actually very rare to feel it unless you're on a higher floor. As soon as you get to a higher floor in a building, that's usually when you feel it. And if anyone's never felt an earthquake, I think it's because like the building shakes more at the top than it would at the bottom. I'm not sure if anyone can to explain in the chat why. All right, so Emily's joined the chat. Emily Ball, thanks a lot for the question. She's asking 2 more days possible, 9.0 or greater. What do you think? 9-pointer, that is a big one. Let's check the gravity well map and see what we've had in the past for 9-pointers. I think I can change it so that we only see those. I think that'll give us an idea of how common 9 or greater are. So we can see, like, is it a possibility that we would have a 9? What are the chances of it? Alright, so here we have just 9-pointers showing on the map. And I'll put it on the bigger map. Now, I know one of the most popular 9-point quakes occurred in Alaska. And not far from Anchorage. I think Anchorage is the town that's like right at the end of this. Yeah, there it is. So that one occurred in 1964. Let's check what other ones we have for 9s. Oh, on the other side of the gravity well. Now, if people are wondering, usually the largest quakes occur right on the line. I'm not sure why that is yet. I'm still very new to gravity. Well, I shouldn't say new. I've been studying them for 4 years now. Right, you can see how this island is sort of like crisscrossed by the lines. Boom, a 1952 9-pointer. All right, we got another question. Yeah, so someone's asking, am I the guy that streams Entropia? Yes, I do gravity wells, video games, travel vlogs. I'm actually editing a travel vlog right now. And I just stopped because of the big earthquake that occurred. Yeah, so I do a bunch of other videos. I'm coming back to Entropia soon, so don't worry. It's usually Entropia is a winter game for me. All right, so 9.3, that was a big one in 2004. Was that the Sumatra one? Yeah, that was the one that caused the big tidal waves, I believe. So we can see what we got for a date there, 2004, 1952, 1964. I don't know if anyone's like noticing a pattern of how many years those are apart. Could help answer the viewer's question. My math sucks balls, not in a good way. But yes, let's go to the next one. I think Mexico, did they have a big one? Oh no, it was South America. That was in 1960. So that occurred in Chile. So given the amount of time in between these quakes, just by guessing, I would say yes. It seems like we are overdue for a 9-pointer. Let's pray that it doesn't happen, or at least not anywhere near cities. That'd be great. Now, if anyone's wondering, when you look at this map, why so many cities are on the lines and why it puts them at such high risk for getting hit by the earthquakes, I'll show you. At first, I was thinking it was something sinister that was going on, why all the different cities were built on the lines. But then I started to realize that the reason that all the cities are built on the line. Here, let's bring up the borders and labels, places. I think places, does that do it? No, cities. I need cities. Places, roads, places. Did that bring up cities? No, that did not. No, basically what I realized is that cities in general are usually, oh, there we go, are usually built because they follow like geographic locations. Like you're not going to build a city where you can't live because the land sucks so bad, right? So the main reason a lot of these places are on the line, let's bring up the blue map. Like Copenhagen, London, Sofia, Budapest. Like really, if you zoom in, you can see a lot of the major cities are on the lines. So that does put them at higher risk for getting hit by the quakes. But it's just geographically, right? A lot of these lines are shaping the planet. So they're going to end up being the spots where it's actually the best to build. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of cities end up on it. If you want to see a really weird coincidence, let's look at Japan. Japan's one of my favorite ones for all the cities that line up. And yeah, and we should keep an eye on it for earthquakes too. What's happening in Japan? It's actually more so the Chinese one, but let's check. I'll include Japan and China. I know some people might not like that. All right, so for locations, we got Shenyang, Pyongyang. Let's move off the earthquake so we can read under it. So Hong Kong. What's one of the big cities in China? I'm trying to think. Beijing, that would be it. Where's Beijing on here? Beijing, there it is. Why it's not showing up on the map, I have no idea. Oh, there it is. It's right there. I just couldn't see it. Yeah, Beijing is also on the map. Shenyang. So you start to realize that it's not like some sinister plan that all these like people came together to build the cities right on the lines, or especially the major cities. It's just the way geography was shaped by the gravity well. It made it more ideal to build there, so then it's definitely going to have a higher chance of getting hit. All right, so let's go back. I think we've checked a little bit enough for that viewer's question. We'll leave just the yellow layer on for now. And let's go back and check the earthquake situation. See what's happened. What new updates. Ah, there it is. All right, I'll refresh it and see what we got. All right, so they're still listing the Mexico quake as a 7. Basically 2 5-pointers, a Mexico quake and the Russia quake. And the New Madrid, thankfully, is still the smallest of the 4. Because, man, when that New Madrid, if like this changes to an 8 and it says New Madrid next to it, I'll be feeling it shake. That's kind of freaky, right? Because like I'm so far from the New Madrid fault line. Can you imagine that I'd be feeling it shake from there? You know how much devastation that would cause? Not to like freak people out, but man, couldn't hurt to get ready for like, I don't know, get your cell phone charged, get your solar panels ready, get some extra bottles of water ready, just like you would get ready for a hurricane. Just in case. Nothing drastic. Because you never know, like, right? Like this 4.9 for the New Madrid or 4.2. Let's pray to God it's the last one and we just go another decade without any more New Madrid quakes. But if this changes to an 8 and this is a precursor, let's just check, like, how many earthquakes have been occurring here in the past. I'll zoom in. Ooh. Right, so yeah, there has been a lot of tiny quakes. I didn't even realize that. They have the ability to show tinier quakes. Let's move it so we can see the whole thing. There we go. Now the viewers can see the whole thing. Sorry, I'm using a couple different screens here. Alright, so for the New Madrid quake, it looks like, when did these begin? September 9th, the 6th, the 7th, oh wait, that's not September, that's March 10th. Am I reading that wrong? Yeah, 9 is the month, 8 is the date. Is this going in chronological order for date, or what is this? Looks like it's all over the place. But anyways, yeah, there's, holy, kilometer distance, depth. So this most recent one looks like it was very close to the surface. That's kind of weird, right? Alright, so yeah, there has been a lot of little ones lately. Alright, so let's check, see if we got any new I felt it reports. And while I check that, I'll put the main earthquake thing on. I'm pretty sure this one goes in real time. So if we see a big earthquake go, it should just appear right on the map. And we'll leave that while I bring up the I felt it reports. I want to hear some more I felt it reports from the New Madrid area, but it looks like it might be difficult to get those. But we'll try anyway. And if anyone just joined the chat, I'll just give a little brief history why I'm so worried about the New Madrid quake, or trying not to worry. The New Madrid quake, last time a 6 occurred, was already destroying my area. Like the damage, what does this say? Shaking felt and area damage. The main reason the area damage wasn't so big is when you think about 1895. What kind of buildings were people living in 1895, right? I doubt too many high-rise buildings. So if you take that and you put it in today's terms, a 6, because it's on the East Coast and it's more rocky land, like the granite, that 6 is probably going to feel like an 8. So you get all these modern buildings around here. That's not good, right? Especially when you consider all the nuclear power plants that are there too. Because you remember what happened in Fukushima, like in Japan, when they had their big one? Big meltdown, right? So we can already establish that giant earthquakes and nuclear meltdowns are very correlated. They connect, right? Like they occur. One occurs near the other, it happens. So that's why I always argue with people that nuclear power plants are the most safest, cleanest form of energy. I'm like, yeah, right? Try to name one thing that's more dangerous than your city having a nuclear meltdown, right? I know they call it green energy. Maybe they mean glowing green, right? Now, I'll try to joke a little so I don't get too freaked out here. I don't know. I've been thinking about this like every day for 10 years. I can't believe that it's starting to occur. Who knows? Well, I could be wrong, and it's just going to be a small one, and that'll be the end of it. Hopefully, when the government took out all the shale gas or the lubricant out of this plate, that let's do that. I'm going to bring up a slide that shows the New Madrid plate line so we can actually see where the plate line is. For some reason, Google just doesn't want to show us. All right, New Madrid, Google, or plate line. All right, I'll go to images and see what we got. Will it actually show the plate line? Does anyone have an image of the plate line? Oh, there it is. So this is an old story, but let's bring up the image. Wait, when is this one? All right, this is a story from Fox News and how Illinois authorities asked people to prepare after a 7 earthquake shaked California, and that was in 2019. All right, so we don't need to watch that. Looks like an ad is opening, but I'll open the image because it shows the fault line. I don't know why Google refuses to show the New Madrid fault line. Maybe it's just like a coincidence, or they really don't want people to see what's coming. Like that one caller from Area 51 said. He said that there's a disaster coming. It's going to wipe out a good portion of the U.S., and the authorities know, and they refuse to prepare for it. Mainly politicians face the problem where they come into office and they only try to get done in their term and then just leave. They don't try to prepare for huge earthquakes and other disasters because they're hoping it happens in someone else's term. Sort of like when you destroy something when the boss isn't looking, and then you just throw it off to the side and you're like, hey, let's leave it till the next employee gets here so I don't get in trouble, right? So that's why a lot of not that I do that at all. But yeah, so that's why politicians aren't preparing. They're literally just trying to get through their term without having to be the one to tell the boss that something bad is coming or that they broke something. So there they showed that that's the New Madrid fault line. I think it would just basically follow the river. Because actually one of the things that I learned from what is it, Canadian geography, when I was like studying it, there were some people that were saying that, yeah, the main reason the St. Lawrence River and all the other rivers that we have in Canada, what each they have in common is under the river is a fault line. So it's like, it's almost like rivers and fault lines go hand in hand, right? All right, so that's what we got for that one. Let's go back to the gravity well, or yeah, let's check out the iFilter reports, see if we got any more that came in. All right, so Missouri, someone was 20 kilometers and they didn't feel it. 17 kilometers, didn't feel it. So far so good. We're okay with that one. No one's really felt that one. We're in the clear with the New Madrid one so far. Now, if anyone wants to study the history of other earthquake locations where we wait for more updates to come in, just let me know in the chat. I'll try to cover anything I can. Yeah, it's weird. Google seems to be hiding the information. I don't know. I've noticed that a lot lately. Like Google, they tried to hide the magnetic field for quite a while, but they recently brought it back. But when they did, they took away all the modern data back that they used to have on it. So I don't know why they're so afraid of everyone seeing the modern magnetic field and how it's changed. Let's just bring that up because you never know. Some people from the electric universe theory, they believe that, electricity and the magnetic fields are actually affecting the planet. So let's check that out. We'll bring up the magnetic field. And just to give everyone an idea of like the magnetic field in our Earth and what some of the weird stuff that's going on. Right, so we don't need the gravity well map to look at this part. You take the Earth's brain. Has anyone noticed that Earth's south pole is actually a brain? I don't know, some people might joke it's not really a brain. Check this out. Yeah, I think it's our Mother Earth, just like the ancient people tried to tell us, but we really haven't clued into it yet, but we're getting closer. So you can see that the plate lines actually draw the image of like a neck and a head right around the brain. So you think, oh, that's kind of weird, right? But let's connect this to the magnetic field data. All right, so I'll bring up the Earth's magnetic field data. And this might be the wrong one. Yes, it is. All right, so I've got a couple magnetic fields. Oh, there it is. So if you take the roughly, they used to show it in 2012, but they took it away and they rolled it back to 2011. They were supposed to update it so we could see it for today's. So I don't know why they're doing that. It's kind of a piss off, but this is as far as we have it. So in the year 2012, the Earth's magnetic field went to the pineal gland of Mother Earth. If that's just some weird coincidence, I don't know. But yeah, so people that are thinking that one might affect the other, there could be something to it. Emily Ball's here. She says with another question. I'm in Lake Ozark, MO. Sorry, I'm terrible with geography in the States. And nothing. Edgar Casey called it the sleeping giant. Oh, he called the Mother Earth the sleeping giant? That'd be something. No, I have researched Edgar Casey quite a bit, especially when, David Wilcox brought him up. I know David Wilcox was very popular around the 2012 era. Not so much anymore, but yeah, so I think that the Edgar Casey stuff is accurate in some cases, in other cases not so much. All right, so if anyone wants to see how the plate lines and the gravity well lines align, let's check out that quick. Because I know a lot of people look at my gravity well map, and one of the main kickers that will convince them that there is something to it is when they see how the actual plate lines interact. Oh, we got to turn off the magnetic field. So you can see that the plate line and that line are actually, let's bring on the blue. This one is a good one. And let's go to the most convincing one of all. See, most people might think, are you sure you got the distance for these lines and everything right? You can see that the plate line actually interacts just like the other gravity well lines. It even splits at the same spot, and the relative distance between the split is almost the same. So you can see that the plate line and the gravity well line seem like they do interact in some locations, especially what was it, the India one. Yeah, like this one goes right through the heart of the center, and it almost like makes a perfect cube around it. I thought that was kind of neat. Now, if people are ever interested in what's happened with our poles and what's going to happen in the future and why the warming patterns have been getting so weird on the planet, let's cover that a little bit quick. Oh, the new Madrid. Emily says she is in Missouri. Holy shit. So I'm praying everything's going to be all right there, Emily, because I know Missouri is probably a paradise, especially in the summer. But, man, when there's, Mark Twain National Forest. But, yeah, when it comes to the new Madrid fault line, holy God, it's... See, that's what I'm wondering, is maybe it's going to go off right there, right where the freaking river splits, eh? Because that's what I was thinking. Those split lines, that's usually where something big happens. Let's bring the earthquakes back on and see what we got. I'll bring on the modern or current earthquakes, and we'll see if they've done any updates with this yet, so we can see the Missouri one. Okay, I keep going farther to the St. Louis. I'll change these so they're on as well. Yeah, and this one only goes up to 2010. What kind of shit is that? Now, if anyone has some good KMZ files they want me to load in Google Earth, I can do it as well. You can usually download those files pretty quick if they have any new ones. See Havana right on the line. Cockburn Town right on the line. Another one that tends to get hammered by the gravity well field appears to be this portion of Puerto Rico. You can see that the blue gravity well field is busting its way up. Oh yeah, and if people are wondering if this gravity well field really is something, what we should be able to do is compare it to other planets and see if those other planets are interacting in a similar way. So let's just quickly, we'll bring up Mars. We'll go back to Earth in a second, but just as an example to show what it looks like on Mars. Where the hell is Mars? Sorry, I got so many freaking layers here. Alright, so here we have the Mars gravity well field. What the Google does, luckily, is they scale it perfectly to Mars. Even though like the planets are different sizes, Earth and Mars, they take my gravity well map and they scale it to Mars automatically. Thank God. So you can see these gravity well maps usually do have some sort of weird alignments on other planets as well, not just the Earth. So that's what I was thinking, that's some evidence that these gravity well fields could be something, because if they're affecting other planets as well in a very similar manner, isn't that weird? Oh yeah, and if people are wondering, like this is the equator on Earth or on Mars, check out this giant ridge that goes at the bottom, and then I'll switch back to Mars quick, or Earth. You can see Earth has got that giant ridge going through too, and it's actually part of the Amazon River. So the entire Amazon River that runs through connects just like it would on Mars. Isn't that weird? I wonder how many scientists have realized this. Like this is basically the Amazon River of Mars if it had water. And basically what this map is showing is red is high land and blue is water if it had water on the planet. Like it's a low point. So you can see that this would be water running right to the equator point, just like it does on Earth. And if people are wondering if the other planetary bodies do this as well, like the different moons of other planets, I just got all those files recently, and yes, to a certain degree. It's weird, but yeah, I don't know, I can't explain it yet. I've been mostly a janitor and a lawn cutter for most of my life, but I like to research stuff all the time. People make fun of people that work day jobs and just research for fun, but I do it anyway. I figure it's a good thing for me to do because I don't have any big career that I'm risking talking about this stuff. I think most scientists that realize this gravity well stuff was real, they just shut up about it because they don't want to get fired talking about weird shit, right? I know I'm kind of like I lose people that are like friends, are like, oh, you're so weird talking about gravity wells, but it's like, hey, it's what I like to work on. If you're going to ditch me as a friend, so be it. But anyways, now if some people are wondering some of the ancient legends that connect to these like weird patterns that are occurring on the planet, the First Nations people have a great story that they talk about how the head of a giant was cut off the body of a giant and tied to the tail of Turtle Island. So some people might laugh, how the hell is South America the head of a giant? Let's show to see if this really is a giant. I think, where do we got it? Here it is. So you can see here what an elephant looks like and his trunk. See how it's got that weird little circle at the end of his trunk? Look what we got here. His trunk coming down, doing a weird circle. So some people are thinking, oh, that's still not the head of a giant. Not convinced. Well, the First Nations people said that when they killed the giant, it cried. So do we have any evidence that this continent is crying just like the elephant? Let's bring up the gravity well map. It's weird how the gravity well map can actually help prove that that's an elephant, but I'll show you how. Man, oh man, is it ever weird? And that's why I keep thinking the Mother Earth, the elephant story. There's so many weird things that are about our planet that actually line up. It's like, what the hell? So here's the eye point of the gravity well where the elephant's eye would be. And what do you know? That happens to be right where the Amazon River forks. And where does the Amazon River fork and drain? It drains down this way. My friend from South America was saying, hey man, the river drains from, what is it, west to east. So it's draining down, and it drains right into the river, into the ocean. So just like an elephant's tears, that's exactly where the river is going. And people think that's a weird coincidence. They say where the elephant head was cut off, its neck is still bleeding, and it's bleeding warm water. So let's go check to see where it was cut off. Turns out the elephant's head used to attach right here to the Mediterranean, and the warm water that bleeds out of the Mediterranean just happens to be warm, and that's the elephant's blood. So we still have the elephant's blood leaking out through the Mediterranean. Isn't it weird that's like all around us and people don't even notice, but yet all these ancient people had stories about it and we still haven't come to terms with it? So did I add any more? No, but there is an actual story about this. I'd bring it up now, but I might open a picture of boobs by accident. I don't want to do that on a live stream. I have no idea how they got there. But anyways, yeah, you can see where the Bay of Biscay, look at how that divides like that. Isn't that weird? So that's some of the stuff of like the history of our planet, how the gravity well. There's even more than this I could show you, but I think we'll do that for today because I want to get back to the show topic. Let's see what's happening with the earthquakes. Now, if anyone wants to check out my older archives, it's in the playlist called Gravity Wells, and then you can just watch tons of the research I've done on it. I try to do an episode at least once a month. Usually I do only do one when there's some big activity going on. All right, so the earthquakes appear to have died down. So that's good. We might be able to wrap up the show, and I'll do another one in the morning soon because it's actually almost midnight here. Oh, we got another question from the viewers. Holy shit. Or Emily was saying that Edgar Cayce predicted the new Madrid would split the USA. Oh yeah, I've seen that map. Let's bring up the map that the viewer just mentioned. Thank you for mentioning that. Who is that again? Emily. Thank you, Emily. All right, so let's go with Edgar Cayce map of the USA destruction. Now this is actually a very popular map. I've seen it quite a few times. Let's bring it up. No, to be honest, when I seen this map, I thought it's ridiculous and that there's no way this amount of destruction would ever occur. But the way things are unfolding in the world these days, I never thought a pandemic would ever happen in our lifetime. So I'm not really counting out too much these days. I shouldn't laugh, but I try to laugh to relieve stress. As you can tell, sometimes I get a little stressed. All right, so why is that not opening? Oh, there it is. Open a new tab. There we go. All right, so Emily was talking about the Edgar Cayce map of what's going to happen with this new Madrid quake. And Edgar Cayce believed that it was going to extend the St. Lawrence. So the St. Lawrence wouldn't be as shallow as a river as it used to be. It's going to get deeper, and it's going to split the continent. So as we were talking about Portland, Oregon having that giant earthquake, you can tell if this all occurred there, then definitely Oregon would be affected by it. What are some of the other predictions for earthquakes? We got, oh yeah, there's Missouri. So that's where Emily is there. So hopefully, yeah, that you'll be okay and the river won't crush you or flood you. Man, oh man. No, I'm not trying to freak people out. Like, usually when there's some disaster, I don't freak out completely if I hear about a possible disaster. I just prepare a little. Get a little bit of water ready. Get a solar panel ready. Maybe a couple extra batteries couldn't hurt. A little bit of food. But not like freak out that you're running in the streets screaming or making out with every guy you can see. No, call me. No, I'm just kidding. It's the end. No, I'm trying to laugh to relieve stress here. Sorry if I get a little silly. It's late at night. I'll blame it on that. Holy shit, was there a second one? Oh, thank God. For a second there, I thought it was. I don't know. Was it just me, or did it look like a second ring was flashing there? What the hell? Oh, yeah, because I got on too big of a view. Let's go back to the full screen. Right, so now we can see a bit better. Oh yeah, I got this too big, that's why. Okay, thank God. For a second there I thought I saw a second ring, but it looks like no, there's still just the first. Oh wait, I do see two rings there. What the hell's going on? Was there a second quake or wasn't there? Emily, have you heard any news about another quake? I don't see any. I'm pretty sure that's just still the original ring. All right, Alec McQueen, he just joined the chat. Oh, and there's another question from Emily. God, sorry everyone, I'm getting caught up here in the action and not keeping up with the chat. All right, so let's bring up the map and we'll go back to the chat and try to catch up. All right, an interesting look at taking a look at the fracking sites for natural gas versus the earthquakes, especially in the eastern half of the country. Yeah, that's what that one map shows. Let's bring it back up. So one of the viewers was just asking it as well. So we did happen to frack out all of the oil that was lubricating the two plates that used to slide together. So that's what I was thinking when the giant boom said the earthquake was coming. The government's like, shit, let's go in there, take out all the oil, so all of a sudden the plates can't slide. No earthquake. So that's what I was kind of wondering, is like when you take out all the lube and it can't slide, is it just going to stay stuck, or does it build and build and build and then pop even bigger? So that's the question I'm worried about. So I don't think that it's going to pop even bigger. Let's hope not. Dear God. Because it's like, I don't know, I mentioned it to earlier viewers. When the 6-pointer occurs in this area, it feels way worse because it's giant, thick rock. Like, that's why it shook all the way to where I live, near Toronto. All right, so Emily says she hasn't heard anything about a second quake yet, so let's hope that there wasn't a second one. All right, so what's causing the earthquake? What I would have to guess is that the Earth itself probably goes through some sort of cycle pattern. But that's the one thing I was thinking too. When you look at this gravity well map, you can see that a lot of these continents line up so well with the lines. Like, look at that, right? Like, so I'm thinking if this gravity well map's been the same, our planet really hasn't shifted that much in a very long time. Or maybe it did shift all at once and then it just stopped. So that's what I'm kind of hoping is, like, I know science, they like to think of the idea that the planet changed gradually and gradually over millions of years. I doubt that's really the case. It could be, but just by the way the gravity well patterns are so well, like, defined over the continents, that, like, what are the odds that it has been moving a lot? Because if it was moving a lot, why the hell would it be lined up with it so well, right? Yeah, just to give some people a little bit of evidence about some of the disasters that have occurred in the past that could be related to the pole flip that could be occurring now. I put a lot of could be's. All right, so if anyone didn't notice, the South Pole that we had on Earth used to be one giant South Pole. It used to be Australia and Antarctica and Zealandia. And they all merged into one giant South Pole. Well, they used to be merged. So if anyone hasn't heard of Zealandia, I'll show it quick. It's actually a real continent that scientists research, so it's like a sunken one. All right, let's bring up Zealandia. There it is. So that's what the continent of Zealandia used to look like. They think if the Earth ever had less water, then it would be on the surface. But since it's underwater, they don't think it's ever been on the surface. I bet you if they do archaeological studies, they'll find lots of remains of trees that used to be on land. So I think what happened is our planet used to be a different size. So, you know, some people have the theory that the Earth is pretty much the same size and never changes. Other people think the theory that the Earth is actually steadily growing and growing and growing, and on the inside is becoming more hollow and hollow. So that's where like the hollow Earth theory comes in. I don't know how true that is, but what I do know is I've checked with different Pangea theories, and this is actually an established Pangea theory. Pangea actually has like hundreds of different theories, so there isn't really just one scientist who has a Pangea theory. It's like lots of scientists, they all have their different theories. But anyways, so this is actually one of the official theories, is this all used to be merged into one giant continent, like a giant South Pole. And has anyone done ceramics before? You know, like clay, when you're like using a wheel, and you have to pump the wheel with your foot, the ceramic spins, and while you're making the pot with your hands, if it gets unbalanced anywhere, it all of a sudden sprays everywhere, right? So it breaks the pot. So what you have to do is you have to try to keep the clay on the wheel somewhat like uniform so it doesn't fly everywhere, right? So what I think what happened is the Earth has that same problem. It's spinning. It has to stay somewhat uniform, because if it didn't, it would just like shatter into a million pieces. So what happened is we used to have a big giant South Pole, and it's split in half. People debate like what caused the planet, or there's where it's split in half. You can even see the crust line still. And you can even see the slide marks where it like slid apart from each other. So I was thinking at one point our planet grew, and all of a sudden the South Pole split in half. So if anyone's wondering what the hell does that have to do with the magnetic flip and all the weather anomalies we keep seeing lately that science likes to try to blame on global warming, is I realized that when I was doing the gravity well map for the North Pole, here, let's show what the North Pole used to look like a long time ago. And if people are wondering if this is just a theory, no, the North Pole actually did used to look like this according to science's different Pangea theories. So let's bring it up. What did the North Pole used to look like before the South Pole split in half? I'll need the yellow lines for it, so I'll bring that up. So you can see the land bridge that connected, Alaska to North America. It wasn't exclusive to this side of the planet. Who knows how long ago, but it used to connect on this side as well. So there used to be like a land bridge here, where this like 2 points meet with a land bridge. That used to occur here as well. So I'll show you what it used to look like. So that's a weird thing. They used to wonder like how the Vikings and all the ancient Europeans got to North America. Well, a very long time ago, there used to be a land bridge across from Europe all the way to North America, just like there was one in Asia to North America. And obviously, most scientists will say this happened so long ago that there couldn't have been people then. So that's probably a good possibility. All right, where is it? The images. Let's see what the North Pole used to look like. Let's create it. Old North Pole. Here it is. So I recreated the land. Sorry, it's blurry. I don't know why Google makes these ones blurry. So that's what the old North Pole used to look like. You can see that this landmass used to be over more, and that it connected to there. So what happened is when the South Pole split in half, it affected the North Pole also, because it's on a clay wheel, right? It's spinning. So when it broke, all of a sudden the pole started to wander back and forth. So the South Pole would wander back and forth between Antarctica and Australia. And if anyone doesn't know, the reason why New Zealand doesn't have like tens of thousands of years of history is because they got destroyed by the Ice Age as well. That's why I always wondered, like, why the hell isn't New Zealand as populated as Japan, right? It's because it was a disaster area. It's like it got destroyed by the Ice Age. So what happens is the South Pole, the magnetic field or the wandering pole wanders back and forth, back and forth. So this wandering back and forth actually started occurring on the North Pole as well. So this is why I think our climate is changing so badly. So what happens is, you see these weird color differences, how like there's dark areas and then there's light areas. That's like the depth of the ocean. Well, when the pole split off on the North Pole, it smashed up the land. Why? Because the magnetic pole started wandering. It started wandering on this path. So the old North Pole that used to exist during the Ice Age is basically around here. So that's why England and everything got hammered by the Ice Age as well. That's why the east coast of the North America got hammered by the Ice Age as well. It's because the freaking North Pole is right there. So as the North Pole keeps wandering, guess what path it takes? It goes like this. So is it a coincidence the land is all like deeper where the North Pole has been wandering? Isn't that weird, right? So that's why I think that when we're looking at the global climate change cycles and why things are getting warmer in some areas and freezing in the other, I don't know, mainstream media doesn't really like to talk about it much. But the East Coast, where I live in Canada, like even in Ottawa, last year we broke all known records for cold. It's been the absolute coldest it's ever been on record in Ottawa. So while everyone's complaining it's hot, it's hot, it's hot, people in Canada are like, holy shit, it's getting colder and colder and colder. Why? Because the pole that's controlling the temperature is wandering. So the magnetic flip theory, or the wandering pole, is trying to say that like we could speed into an ice age, or it could happen very slowly. So I'm a little bit worried that, hey, maybe all these signs in nature and everything is showing that the ice age cycle actually occurs way faster than we've previously anticipated. So I'm hoping that we don't have another ice age, because dear God, I live near Toronto, and if we have an ice age, we'll be screwed, right? So it's like I hope that the ice age doesn't come back. That's one of my main fears when I look at the weather changes. It's getting so cold in Canada on the East Coast. I don't think anything else can explain it. I know they try to say that it's global warming, but then why the hell is it getting colder in some places and hotter in others, right? Why do they always just focus on the hot? It's like you don't even hear probably on the news that Canada's breaking all the all-time cold records, right? Oh, yeah. So Emily, she was saying, oh, yeah, we got Alex. What's causing the earthquakes? I mean, what changed between yesterday and today? That's another good question. Here where I live, near Lake Huron, people on these beaches near Goderich, Kincardine, Southampton, Port Elgin, some of the nicest beaches you'll find in North America, especially when it comes to fresh water. All these beaches had horrible, horrible storms. Where it wasn't storms, it was giant waves. So everyone's trying to figure out, like, why are the waves so much bigger? Like, there was people drowning in like knee-deep water. The tide was so strong, just pull you to the bottom. And if it sounds stupid, I've actually almost drowned that way. When I was a kid, I was swimming. I'll show you where. Where is it? Kincardine, Port Dover, Saugeen. Anyways, there's a big beach called the Pinery Beach, and I was swimming at it when I was a kid. And what happens is in the Great Lakes, when the waves get really big, like 6 feet plus, they get a tide, and it pulls you down to the bottom. So what I was doing was body surfing with my family, and then all of a sudden, a wave hit me, and I wasn't prepared for it. Like I was looking the other way, talking to someone, and it dragged me to the bottom. And I freaked out because I was like face first, bam, right into the mud. And I couldn't breathe. So I'm like, oh shit, I didn't grab a breath of air before I went under, and I can't breathe. So what happened was, as the tide, even though I was in knee-deep water, I was held on the bottom, so I couldn't surface. I'm like, oh shit, I can't breathe. I'm underwater. This is not good. And the weirdest part, my family was standing like just a few feet away. I couldn't yell to anyone, tell them I'm in trouble, because I'm underwater. So what I did is I tried to do push-ups to get off the bottom of the sand. Couldn't do it. The water pressure was too strong. So what did I do? I just held my breath and waited. I was like, dear God, if I fight this and struggle, I'll drown. So I just waited. It was like less than 30 seconds. All of a sudden the tide released, and I was able to get back up. And then I was like telling my family, I'm like, holy shit, this is dangerous. We should get out of the water. And everyone's like, oh, you're just exaggerating. But yeah, so there's definitely something weird going on that controls tides. Some people tries to say it's the moon. Some people say it's like hurricanes. I was thinking maybe it was the hurricane because we just had one recently, right? What was that one? Isa or something like that? So some people might say that it's electric universe theory. I do watch the Suspicious Observer channel, and I've been watching his channel for a long time, and he talks about how the sun is interacting. And I'm pretty sure someone said something big with the sun was occurring this week. So yeah, could be something to do with the electric, could be the sun. I don't know, it's hard to say. It's really anyone's guess, right? I wish I knew. I think everyone wishes they knew, right? If we knew the answer of why earthquakes happen when they do. I could guess maybe it is the sun. I think, yeah, maybe the sun would be the greatest, maybe the moon. If I had to guess, maybe a 50-50 guess between the moon and the sun. Some weird cycles going on that we haven't really discovered yet. Yeah, you can see Kingston lands right on the line there too. We're pretty damn close. Alright, if anyone wants to see some weird stuff with like how like the ancient, or not even the ancient, the modern Freemasons know about this gravity well map and how they drew it, which I found weird because I thought they would draw it exactly right, but they drew a different one. So it's only slightly different. Let me show it to you. I'll put on the yellow field because for some, or the blue field, because they seem to like the blue field one. That's the one they drew. Alright, let's bring on the blue, take off the yellow. And this is, I'll show you the one that the Freemasons designed. Where is it? Sorry, I'm reaching that age where I probably should be wearing glasses. Alright, so this purple one is the one the Freemasons designed. And if you're wondering what I mean by the Freemasons designing it, this is the purple line, and it goes right through, what is it, that the obelisk, you know, the obelisk in Washington. So it goes through that one. I don't know, what's with that green line? I gotta take, oh yeah, that's a September 11th line. I'll get to that one in a second. We're almost on September 11th, so I should mention it. Alright, so the other obelisk, the Freemasons put their line to go through. Where is it? Oh yeah, there it is. Toronto. If anyone's never heard of our obelisk before, I'll show you where it is. It's, where is it? There it is. The giant tower. So the giant tower of the CN Tower is where the Freemasons put the other obelisk. And let's see where the next obelisk is. Oh yeah, I remember. It's in Ottawa. There it is. So the Freemasons also put another tower here. Let's see. Ah, there it is. Parliament of Canada. We got this giant clock tower, and it's called the Peace, or what is it called? Yeah, Peace Tower. So it's like another giant obelisk. So the Freemasons put it under it. So I don't know why the Freemasons drew this like sacred or ancient gravity well pattern, and they drew it slightly different. The only thing I'm thinking is maybe the Freemasons know about how the planet shifted, so they drew it to the old pattern and not the modern one. That's the only thing I can think of. Oh, and if anyone's wondering what the hell I was talking about for September 11th, let's see what we got here. Let's take off the September 11th line because it's a bit confusing right now. So that's like the different lines, and people might say that it's like a different pattern. Let's bring off the cross lines. It's too many lines at once. So you can start to see that like this is a damn close pattern, but it's like very like just slightly off. Like it shifted a little, right? So that's what I think. Maybe the Freemasons actually left us a clue about how the earth is shifted. Maybe they know about the big plan or the big shift that's coming. Oh, that was another line. Now I like to try to color code the lines so that I can keep track of them easier. As you can see, it's a lot to keep track of. There it is. So what I got a guest lined up for the show is he discovered another line that's very similar to this ancient Freemason line. Let's take off the blue ones for a sec. And it turns out if you draw a line all the way from, what is it, Mexico City to where the earthquake was, to, what is it, Stonehenge? Guess what that line draws over? It's such a weird coincidence. I don't know if it is a coincidence or they designed it this way or what, but this is the line that symbolizes the September 11th attacks. So you can see where like the airport where the planes were kidnapped to where, what is it, New York, where they hit the World Trade Centers, and Washington, where, what was it, the Pentagon was hit? Or is Pentagon somewhere else? I could be wrong about that. But anyway, so yeah, he found out, or I don't know if Atlanta was another one of them. But anyways, it's like, look how weird that is. Like all the attacks on September 11th occurred on a line, and they almost line up with the gravity well map. Like, what the fuck, right? But we'll try to get him on the show soon so that we can get him to give us more of the information. He's connected a lot to the Freemasons as well. I don't want to pick on the Freemasons. I know some of them are good, some of them not so much, but it's the same thing with any other group of people, right? You're going to have good ones and bad ones. So, yeah, what are the, oh yeah, people are wondering, what are these other lines, like the other purple ones? There's one that goes from, what is it, Easter Island. See this little island here? That's Easter Island, where all those ancient sites are. The other spot on this line that's popular is, oh yeah, Nazca lines. And the other spot it's popular, it goes right over Cairo, like the pyramids of Egypt. The other spots that it's popular is in Cambodia. What is that place called again? Angkor Wat. So it goes right over Angkor Wat, the temple. Where is it? There it is, Angkor Wat. So isn't it weird, like how all these cultures around the world? There was actually a pretty popular movie about it, if you want to check it out. I think it's called, fuck, I forget the name of the movie. But I should really be referring to it, because I hate taking other people's information, not sharing it, where it came from. So yeah, just check out a YouTube video called These Alignment Lines Will Blow Your Mind. And you'll find it, like, I think it, yeah, if you can't find it, just put it in the chat, and then I'll link it after, once I'm not live streaming. Because I don't want to bring it up live streaming, because it could, like, get me a copyright strike, so can't really open it yet. So yeah, that's what some of these purple lines are, is just the ancient sites. So that's why I think these earthquakes and the electronic shifts or pole shifts of the planet could be somehow connected, because it appears the planet has shifted slightly in the past. So who knows, maybe this map of the ancient sites is the one where when the Earth was slightly smaller. I don't know, if like you shrank the Earth just a little bit, maybe it would match that gravity well map perfectly. Let's bring it up again. Alright, sorry to go on such a rant there. I'll try to get caught up with more questions soon. So yeah. Oh yeah, and if anyone wants to see another weird coincidence, when you don't have the ancient site line, let's take them away for a second, because that's too many lines. I hate it when there's so many lines on the map, because it even gives me a headache. I can't see that many lines at the same time without it getting annoying. Alright, so if you look at this ancient map, or this gravity well map, oh wait, yeah, it was the purple one. That's what I was thinking. Dear God, I got it mixed up. It's not the blue one, it's the purple. So if you take the blue or the purple one and you look at this island that it goes through, here it is. I was actually just looking at this island on a trip. It's in my vlogging thing. If you want to see the best beaches on Ontario, I got to look at Flower Pot Island, except I was on the coast here. So I just looked across the water and seen it. But there's these giant statues that are like naturally occurring all over the island that look just like the line or the statues on Easter Island. So where does this line go? What do you know? It goes all the way down and connects to Easter Island. So I was like, why is all these like weird statues that are the same on the same line? So where is it? Yeah, there it is. Boom. That Flower Pot Island, Easter Island, they got those weird statues on the same spot. And it's weird too, because the statues and the islands both look the same, even though one's man-made and one's natural. So it's weird that way, right? But there's a legend that says that actual giants got turned into those rocks. So that's why they look like normal rocks, is because they used to be people, but they got changed. I don't know how true that legend is, but... Oh yeah, and then if you take this line and you follow it all the way to Russia, guess what it goes through in Russia? Another spot with these giant like statues that look like Easter Island, but also naturally occurring. So I don't know why they're always occurring on the same line. Who knows? Could be something to it. All right, so let's get to more questions here. Let's go check out the. We'll minimize the. Well, let's put up the Edgar Casey map again. God, I love this map. I shouldn't be loving this map because it's such a disaster. It's like, God, I love disasters. No, I'm not doing these shows just for likes. As you can tell, my channel is very small, and I'm not going to get like millions of likes from this video, so I wish. Yeah, so we got this map up here. Let's check out the latest earthquake information. See what's happened while we've been ranting for like 10 minutes. Or shit, 20 minutes. Alright, we'll close that. Moderate quake info. Oh yeah, I got to go to the washroom soon too, so we definitely got to wrap this up soon. I can't go to the washroom and stream at the same time. I wish I could. No, I'm just kidding. Alright, so yeah, thank God. At least the earth has stopped shaking for now. We really don't have any other big earthquakes to check, even while I was talking. Although, for some reason, it keeps showing 2 rings here. I don't get that. It must be just some sort of mistake, right? Unless they're anticipating another earthquake coming. I don't know, because isn't each ring normally an earthquake? Let me try. Come on. I didn't click that. So that's an earthquake. Yeah, so each ring is supposed to be a different earthquake. So I don't know why it keeps showing more than 1 ring. Alright, so let's read some more information from our questions from the chat. Holy shit, we got tons. Yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Normally when I do these specials, no one does, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so Emily says, oh yeah. She's got some good questions or comments, but I'll get to it in a second. Let's read them in order. Oh shit, got the wrong screen here. Alright, so yeah, let's put it back on this one and we'll check it out. Let's get caught up. Alright, so Emily says nothing yet. Corona mass ejection from the sun. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It could be the corona mass ejections from the sun. Actually, the gravity well field, oddly enough, makes patterns that line up with the sun as well. So I don't know if this gravity well research could anticipate in the future where the corona mass ejections will come from. Because I know scientists, like especially Suspicious Observer, I know he's not an official scientist, but he's trying to figure it out too. Like, why do sun flares or sun spots occur in different spots and not others? So yeah, before we go, yeah, let's look at that. Because that's actually a really good question. We can look at the gravity well map on the sun and actually get a look rather than just talk about it. All right, so where's the sun on this? I'll get it in a sec. I got this cool file that's called the entire solar system. I just recently found it. There were some teachers that shared it. So I was like, thank God. Now I got the other planets and suns and stuff that I can check the gravity well field to. Oh yeah, they called it the Grand Tour. So if you go to the Grand Tour file, if you have Google Earth at home, I'm going to share this map with more people soon, but my hope was that someone else would make it on their own just by me telling them the measurements, because I know I screwed up on a few parts of it, so I'd like to see how someone else draws it. But anyways, here's the Grand Tour. Oh shit, brought up too much. Let's go with the sun. Where's the sun? Mercury, Venus, outer planets, Neptune, dwarf planets. Where's the sun? Why is it not in that one? Son of a bitch. Right, I must have put it in a different folder. Magnetosphere, Google. God, the sun's supposed to be in there. Why isn't it? Annoying. Okay, oh, there it is. For some reason, they listed under the dwarf planets. I don't think the sun counts as a dwarf planet, but apparently it does in this file. Oh, wait, I gotta turn off the lines for the planet Earth, because that makes it confusing as fuck. Sorry for swearing. I know I swear like a trucker when I get nervous. Alright, so there was a few... Well, I don't know if this is a live view of the sun, and the last time I checked it, it's changed. I don't even know. Yeah, maybe I had another file of the sun. This one's kind of hard to tell. Alright, well, let's just open the image of the sun, because I already had it lined up for it. So if I show boobs on the screen, sorry, I'll try to edit it out. Oh, thank God, it opened on the other screen. Alright, so let's go to the sun image. Sun image. Desktop, gravity well file. Ah, there we go. Now we got the sun image. No, so if anyone's wondering why I think well, let's go for the sun image first before I get sidetracked. Yeah, this is definitely a different image of the sun. I'll have to go into my file and try to find it. There's a better high resolution Google version of the sun. So you can see how the gravity well sort of centers and then it flares up around it. And someone from Quebec was pointing out that it actually looks a lot like their country or province's symbol. So I think it kind of looks like it, but yeah, I put it next to it just for comparison. And you can see some of the sun flare spots do kind of happen like in a uniform pattern. So one day I would actually like to do a show with a suspicious observer and show him the gravity well map so that he could add them to his show. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to charge him or anything. I just want to get this information out there. It might be all nothing or it could be something. So I'd like more people to research it. So yeah, that's some of the imagery of the sun. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe the gravity wells, the sun, the planet Earth. A lot of it's going to be all tied together once we get some more data on gravity wells and get some better academics actually working on it. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's with this. Oh, I know what it probably is. I bet you there's more than one layer to the sun. No, there's just the one layer. Alright, so I'll have to find where I got that sun one another time, but thank God I had the picture ready at least. Alright, let's go to the other questions, and I won't show any more of my other slides until we actually get caught up with the questions. Because I got to try to wrap this up soon. We got a whole crap load of questions. Alright, so corona mass ejection from the sun. Yes, thank you, Emily. I wanted to show the gravity well for the sun, so I'm glad someone brought that up. That's what I was thinking. If you got gravity wells on the Earth that are causing earthquakes, there's gravity wells on the sun that are causing solar flares. That is kind of like a connection between the two, right? Alright, so S mode. Pretty sure the last year and a half is just Mother Nature serving us our extinction papers. No, that's actually one of the funny things. I shouldn't say funny. It's a terrible thing. But God, why do I always have to do that? It's like you take horrible things and say they're funny. But anyways, it's to relieve stress. Let's do it. Let's show what people are talking or the answer to that question. All right, let's go, Google. Show us the Georgia Guidestones. All right, so the Georgia Guidestones is basically been talking about how different people... Did that just say the North Star? I could have swore I read that somewhere. Yeah, right there. The 4 outer stones, let's make it bigger so everyone can see it. That's what she said. Sorry, I'll stop saying that. Dear God. I swear when I stayed inside for the lockdown, I just became a total sicko. Man, I've been inside way too long. I need to get out more. Right, the 4, I blame it on that. I swear I was never like this before. Right, anyways, so the 4 outer stones orientate with the lunar declination cycle. That's weird. The center column features a hole drilled which can be seen, the North Star. So if anyone knows what the North Star and what that's all about, happens to be part of a ritual that the Illuminati or the Freemasons or whoever you want to call them uses for sacrifice. So when they say that something with the North Star, that's always a symbolic to sacrifice. So that kind of freaks me out every time I hear it. I definitely don't like sacrifices, so kind of freaks me out. But anyways, let's talk. What does this Georgia Guidestone say? I didn't even know that. Holy fuck, man. That's weird. No, I research ancient mysteries up north, and they're always about the North Star as well, so... Right, so here's the plan. There's apparently a whole bunch of like really rich and wealthy people that have been developing a plan of what's going to happen on the Earth. And their whole plan is that there's too many people, we've killed all the fish, basically the whole carbon agenda, they're freaking out about carbon. So they're saying that their plan to fix the carbon is they want to get humanity's population down to 500 million and have it in perpetual balance with nature. So when we can say that nature is trying to get rid of us, I don't really think that nature specifically is targeting us. I think that whole plan has been like in works for a long time, maybe even millions of years, maybe even right back to the creator. But there's some sort of weird plan where a whole bunch of people aren't going to be around anymore. That's what's really devastating. I hope it never comes to pass. All right, so they're into like the other stuff, but I won't get into too much of that because a lot of it we can get our channel banned for. So you didn't see that. So that covers whether or not nature is trying to get rid of us. Oh, we got Jeremiah H. Thanks for joining the chat. All right, so flares. Oh, that was Jeremiah H. He was saying, where are we supposed to be entering an ice age from? And what I've read. That's this. The North Pole, it shifts just like the South Pole does. The South Pole wanders back and forth. I imagine it probably goes in some sort of weird pattern. I'd have to look at like where the circle of the South Pole shifts. But the North Pole one also shifts. And you can see where it shifts. It's weird. It's like even the planet has the evidence of where. I think this is roughly where the old North Pole used to be. That's why England and Canada's East Coast got hammered. That if you want an actual scientific theory to look up that talks about this, they call it the wanderer, like the wandering pole. So if you look that up, you can like read a whole bunch about it, more so than I can better explain it probably. But what we got is the dark areas is where it goes. So isn't it weird how the North Pole went through here and smashed all the land? Like the land used to look like this. Let's show it again. This is actually a scientific picture. It's not just me that made it up. Well, I made this picture, but it's based on like actual pictures from science. I just mapped it onto Google. So you can see how the continent used to like two V's that connect in the center. And that's where the land bridge used to be. We used to have a land bridge that connected these. But this is what the planet used to look like before the South Pole split. So who knows what caused the South Pole to split? I just think about the clay wheel, how it spins and spins and spins. If one part on the bottom shifts, it's going to cause the rest of the clay on the top to shift too, right? I didn't do much in ceramics, but I'm glad I took the class that I did because I would have no idea about how ceramics worked unless I took that class. So if anyone else has done ceramics, you'll have an idea of what the hell I'm talking about, like pottery. So anyways, yeah, that's where the pole used to look like. And when it got smashed, the pole just started going through here. So I don't know why. I guess the magnetic pole actually left a path everywhere it's dark. So this is where the pole keeps going. And people are wondering which pole I'm talking about. There's like a North Pole, physical pole, magnetic pole. And I'm not even sure which one. I think it's the magnetic one that drifts. I'd have to look it up again. I always get them mixed up. But if anyone wants to look that up, which is the one that wanders. Maybe it is both that wander. I'd have to check into that. But anyways, the magnetic pole has been like, or whatever pole it is, has been wandering. So the darker areas where it's deeper is where it wanders, its path. So that's kind of weird why it smashed the land, it wanders, but it's definitely going to affect our climate. Oh yeah, and if anyone's wondering what's the evidence that this pole used to actually exist, like this, it turns out the mountains in this area and the mountains in this area are the same mountain chain. So that's why a lot of scientists believe that this is how it used to look, because these mountains are the same chain, that they just split apart at some point. So yeah, that's weird, right? Like the same mountains. I don't think there's any other way to explain that. So that's why a lot of scientists started drawing this map. They think that that's how it used to look. Oh, speaking of, I think I actually have that map here ready. Let's look at the actual science version of this map. Oh fuck. Did I open too many? No, I didn't. Good. All right, so come on, gravity well folder. Why is it not in there? Oh, there it is. All right, do I have it in the good one? No, I do not. Oh, there I do, yes. So here's a higher resolution version of it, and you can see this is an actual academic version. Oh, I have it on the wrong screen, sorry. So this is an actual academic version of what the planet used to look like. So you can see they drew Greenland a little bit differently. They didn't put the giant square in the center because they didn't have the gravity well map to show that there's supposed to be a giant open cube. So when they drew the map together, they got it pretty close. And the only thing that's weird too is like you see how the planet has that weird shape? How it looks like a clay wheel basically. It's very balanced and uniform. It's not like all over the place. It's like actually a cylinder type shape. Let's show what I think that's another reason that the ancients were talking about Mother Earth. I'll show it to you. And we'll get back to the other questions quick. I'll try to go quick here. I know, because I got to go to the washroom so bad. I'm like, I shouldn't have drank all that beer before I started. I didn't know the earthquakes were going to happen. If I did, I wouldn't have started drinking. All right, so let's see. Image files. I only had 2 beers, but man, it still cut through me. All right, let's go with Mother Earth. There it is. So this is the symbol the ancients people had kept to try telling us about Mother Earth and stuff, or like the goddess figure. So it's kind of weird, right? It's like a lot of it matches. Like the arms are sticking out. They got the big V at the bottom. Well, I guess that's an obvious V, but a second V. All right. Sorry, I'll get my mind out of the gutter one day. Let's hope. All right, so let's continue on to other questions. I can't even remember if I answered that one. Let's hope we did. Oh, yeah, and I was going to show the Easter Island statues. Remember I was talking about how all those statues look similar? All these lines, or all these like weird rock formations, are all in the same line. And each of them have a history about giant legends. How giants were turned into rock. So I found that very strange, right? Like you can even see, like some of them look like they have a nose sticking out. Like if you look at that, doesn't it kind of look like a face with a nose? And you look at it, it's like, it's oddly similar, especially to be on the same line. Like what the hell, right? No, and if people are wondering what the ancient style maps for this is Perry Reese, and this is how he drew them. So that's why I was thinking that my map is slightly wrong, because in some spots it's not really supposed to all meet in the center. It is actually supposed to make this weird pattern going around it. And my map does do that, but it's like way harder to draw. So that's why I just draw it going to the center, especially with the green and black lines. I have the red line layer for mine, but I haven't finished it yet. It's a fucking bitch to draw. If anyone's good at drawing on Google Earth, please get in contact with me. I'll even pay you to help. Like if I had like, I don't know, paid someone to help finish this map, it would be sweet. Yeah, so here's the red layer, and you can see the red layer is a bitch because, man, there's so many lines. So to try to fix it, it's like just too much. It's like I get a headache just looking at it. But it kind of does end up turning out to be what those ancient ones drew. I just suck at it. So hopefully one day someone will be able to draw it better. And if anyone's wondering why there's different layers, you can see that this is why. You just divide each point in half with a different color. And then when you draw it in for the whole map, that's how it turns out. It's kind of trippy. Now that's what I like about this part. Like the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is like very uniformed in this gravity well map. Like look at that. The Ring of Fire is basically this giant ring for the yellow layer, right? And it even shows how it's like the outside border. Oh yeah, and then you want to see another weird coincidence? Here we got Earth, like one of our biggest volcanoes or most active, Hawaii, and how it dragged along the surface. And then it took a drastic 90 turn at one point. So there's evidence about what could be occurring in the future. Like what we could be seeing with these earthquakes and gravity shifts or pole flips. There's evidence where the pole flipped at one point or at least turned 90 degrees. So anyways, let's bring up Mars and check if there's any correlation to Mars. Where is Mars? You bitch. Oh, there it is. Turns out Mount Olympus happens to be very close to where Hawaii is. What is Mount Olympus? It's Mars's most biggest active volcano. So it's weird how it's like Earth's most active and Mars most active. So that's why I think these gravity well fields, if it's interacting with the sun and Mars and Earth, that's why I started checking every planet. So that could be a little bit of evidence there. Oh yeah, and here's the other one by India. India also shows evidence of the 90 turn. You can see that the pole line used to line up like this perfectly, but at some point it shifted 90. So I don't know where that 90 shift came in. Here's another evidence for the 90 shift. See how this marks the distance from the two continents? When the planet was shifting, this used to be the distance between that point. And then it shifted again, and it used to be this. And you can see it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I don't know if that means the planet was growing bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why each time it gets smaller and smaller. But when that shifting was happening, you can see it shifted. There's another 90, where it did this one, and then it shifted, and then did another one. And if anyone's wondering if any evidence exists that these like Earth growing and the pole shifting and creating these different arcs, what would be evidence that that was real is if the arc, the oldest one, happened to be the deepest point of the ocean. So let's go check. Where is this last arc? Just so happens to be Challenger Deep, the Mariana Trench. So that happens to be where this last point is, where the Earth was at its smallest point. Isn't that weird? So that's the evidence of what we could be seeing from these earthquakes, certain 90-degree shifts. I'm hoping that the 90-degree shift that caused this and caused like that is way in the past, and we won't see any of those anymore. Let's hope. Because then it'll really throw off my map. I'll have to draw a whole new one. No, it took me about 4 years to draw this, if anyone's wondering how long it took. So, yeah, it took quite a while. No, I had a severe concussion. Instead of learning to play music, I learned how to draw gravity wells. I don't know why, but who knows? But anyways, yeah, let's get back to the viewer questions. Oh, Saturn. I'm pretty sure some people wanted to see Saturn. There's what the gravity well pattern on Saturn looks like. Where's another one? Oh yeah, the ice sheets on Europa. You know how Europa, this giant ocean, you can see that the major cracks on the planet of Europa tend to line up with the gravity well field as well. I know there's cracks everywhere, but that could be evidence that like the planet has been shifting. But it's kind of weird too that the biggest crack lines up with some of the biggest equator lines. So I don't know. Some people might think, yeah, like especially there's the V, right? It almost lined it up exactly with that V. But we're basically looking at lines everywhere on these, so it's not very convincing. Excuse me. Oh yeah, if people are wondering, the ancient sites, that other line that goes across the west coast of the US goes through all these. So it goes through that place, goes through that place. Here it looks like a straight line like that, but when you draw it on a globe, that's how it looks. So this big straight line connecting all these is that line there. This one's the one that connects the pyramids. This is the one that connects the Easter Islands and all those weird statues. And it's just slightly off, right? Like when I was drawing the ancient map first, I was hoping that the real gravity well map would match it perfectly. But when they didn't match, I was so disappointed. But at the same time, I was like, hey, maybe it's a clue. I could find out why they're different. I bet you any money the Freemasons know, or at least some of them. There's definitely not just one group of Freemasons. There's lots. Oh, yeah, and that's what I was going to show. Here you can see that the gravity well that's around the Gulf of Mexico with those recent hurricanes we've had, I started tracking other hurricanes as seasons went on, and they usually do spin around the gravity well, just like how all the planets spin around the sun, or how the gravity well that Einstein predicted would spin around the Earth. Oh yeah, and then this one, I can't remember if that's the Sun or Jupiter. I think that's the pole of one of the others. So there is quite a bit of data and information to show that there is something to these gravity wells, including other planets. Thank God I got some of the other planet data. Oh, and if people like the three force theory, electric, light, and gravity, electrons, photons, gravitons, or 369. So that's some of the formulas that I've been working on to try to come up with a universal theory to bond electricity, light, and gravity all into one universal theory. I know that's what academics have been working on since Einstein. No one's been able to do it yet. Here was another one. If you happen to notice, this is what, like, I forget. No, that's not the gravity well one, is it? No, there it is. This is a picture of what modern scientists started to realize, that when they drew these lines on the poles, that they started to notice everything spinning around them. So this is what scientists have started to like, hey, maybe this is a gravity well. If anyone's seen Antoine's channel before or haven't, I highly recommend it. He's one of my favorite actual academics that talks about wild theories. He doesn't always do wild theories, but he's willing to touch them, where a lot of other academics won't touch it with like a 10-foot pole, right? Oh yeah, here was another one. If anyone likes the South Pole theory. See, the South Pole is basically the yin-yang of our planet, right? We've got Australia and Antarctica, nearly the same, and they used to be bonded together, but they've broke apart. So who knows, maybe when the humanity's like, they talk about humanity and how we split apart, like that we used to be closer to the gods, but something happened on the planet and we got pulled apart from our god self. Maybe that's when the South Pole split. I don't know. It's a little bit wild of a theory, to say the least. What's the other one? Oh yeah, Venus. Venus is gravity well is pretty wild too. If anyone wanted to see it, that's what some of what Venus looks like. I don't know. You can see that the orbs spin quite around on that one. Branch out pretty good on that one. On that one, there is quite a decent canyon. Oh yeah, that was the coolest thing too. You know how I have this giant orb here, and I'm trying to say that it pushed away all the land to like shape Africa? Is there any evidence for this? Let's check. There's scientists, and they predicted where earthquakes, or not earthquakes, meteors impacted. So let's look at one of their meteor impact predictions, because they found a giant meteor holes in different areas, and they're trying to figure out what's causing the hole. All right, let's see. There it is, the Earth Impact Crater Database. So they have the giant crater that happens to be right here, and they can't figure out what caused it, because if you click this one, look what it says. Red. Red means rejected. So they found a giant crater, and they say it's not a meteor. It can't be. But they still don't know what caused it. But these other smaller rings, that's other meteor impacts, they believe. So that's where the electric universe theory comes in. Some people are saying that these aren't really meteor impacts, but it's like energy that's causing them, not meteors. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is something to that theory. Because isn't it weird how like my main spot in Africa actually aligns perfectly with the meteors? Like I didn't even find this meteor database till a couple weeks ago. So when I plotted it on, I was like, holy shit, right? Now, there isn't any other too big. Well, I guess that's almost evidence too, like how the storms spin around the sun. You get all these meteor impacts around the poles, or these weird gravity wells. Oh yeah, and there's also one for the Alaska one. So the biggest earthquake that ever happened, like we covered earlier, that 9.2. Let's bring it up here. Let's see how close it comes to actually being in the center of that. Come on. I don't know why it makes you change the date like that. Yeah, it's almost perfectly centered. So wouldn't that be a weird coincidence that the biggest earthquake in Earth's history happened to occur in one of the biggest meteor impact spots? Well, they drew it in red though. So they admit that there's like a giant circle here and they can't figure out what's causing it. So I don't know. That's a little bit weird, right? So are earthquakes and meteor impacts somehow connected? So weird, right? So the people that are into the electronic universe theory, I think you guys or ladies might have something to that. Yeah, it's neat how they put that there. Beaverhead, Montana. All right, well, let's remove those and get to some more viewer questions. Sorry, I take so long for each question. I'm trying to speak quickly and it's just not working. Finishing quick is normally my specialty. I'm just kidding. The ladies joke at that one usually. I swear it never happens. All right, let's go answer some more questions before I make fun of myself anymore. All right, so a tsunami threat is currently in progress. Oh my God, let's go check that out. Dear Jesus. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing so much. This is terrible. I gotta swear to relieve stress. I don't know. Where can I find tsunami updates? I don't know if I have something for that. Oh, it might be on that I Felt It report. Oh, shit. Mexico just had a 4.7. Thank God it wasn't bigger, right? I was worried a little bit there because my friend is like right in Mexico. And God, if she got hurt, I'd be devastated. But anyways, let's hopefully that... yeah, there's the Mexico one. Wow. All right, so let's go back to the main screen and let's get some more questions. Holy, they do keep showing more than one ring there. I don't get it. Why do they keep doing that? Emily was saying that there wasn't any other ones. So why do they keep drawing the second ring? It could be just something I'm seeing wrong or interpreting wrong. That must be what it is. All right, so let's get on. I know there's a lot of people that ask questions and not everyone was able to even wait for the answer, so we'll answer it anyway. Oh, Emily wants to look at the lines in Israel. All right, so let's check that out. Oh, Alec was saying that his great-grandfather was a Freemason. That's cool. No, I think maybe some people in my family used to be too, but I didn't actually get confirmation from any of them. So who knows? I know there's so many people that are Freemasons. It's almost ridiculous, right? But they're actually in a hard state right now because they're trying to get more members, and they went away from the ancient teachings. And they have like modern Freemasonry, and a lot of people aren't into modern Freemasonry because they liked Freemasonry for the old shit. So that's where Freemasonry has kind of run into a hitch lately. Yeah, what Jeremiah was saying, he was saying that we're supposed to be entering the Ice Age. Yeah, I would agree to that. Especially when you see Canada's weather and we're breaking all of our cold records every year for like the past decade. Each year's consistently getting worse, where last year was the worst ever on record. So yeah, it does definitely seem like that wandering is starting to occur. And that's why I was thinking other places are getting hot. Because you imagine you used to be close to the North Pole leaves, how hot are you going to be? If the North Pole leaves, then you're going to be a lot hotter, right? Yeah, S-Mode joined the chat, and he's saying that, oh, Ben Davids is awesome. I'll have to check that out. Ben Davidson. Oh, that's it, Davidson. All right, so S-Mode, yeah, I just call it global warming, sort of like when you call someone a name that's just, I was going to say another name, but I'd be careful of my YouTube channel. No, it's like, it's just the term that most people agree on, that's what it means. It's not actually the correct term, but it's just what most people agree on. So that's why I'll say it. Climate change, yeah, climate change makes way more sense to say because some places are getting hotter and some colder. So why the hell do we keep calling it global warming? Doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, so Emily, we got to her question next. She wants to see Israel, so let's do that. Israel is kind of a neat location. I'll show the sacred tree because I don't think I mentioned the sacred tree yet. I don't even think I have the slide ready for it, but we'll see. If you take the yellow lines and you draw the blue lines, you end up with a cube. I don't know. I should see if I have the slide. Because, man, if I got the cube ready, that'd be a good one to show everyone. Fuck, I don't have it in that folder. I know where it is. I think I put in my pagan research because it connects so close to the pagan stuff. So I'll just reach the pagan folder and I should find it. Pagan, there it is. Pagan, did I find it? Son of a... Fuck, man, I didn't put it in the pagan folder. Where did I put it? Let's try the sacred tree folder. That could be it too, because it's a pagan thing. Ah, there it is. Found it. So you can see the ancient cubes like the Norse used to do, and like the Israeli, what is it? Forget what theirs is called, the Sephiroth or something. Anyways, it draws this giant cube. So this cube pattern actually occurs here. Oh, there it is. You can see the cube there. Like boom, 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 boom. So it does have the cube pattern in it. So that's where I was like, isn't it weird? Like the ancients used to tell us that the earth has a sacred tree. We couldn't find it for decades or centuries, even millennia. And now it looks like with the gravity well field that we will find the sacred tree. Which I think that's kind of really strange, right? Like, how the hell did well, it makes sense because the ancients were using these old maps for thousands of years before we started making modern maps. So they likely had this map. So no wonder is that they could see the sacred tree. I don't know. It's a little bit of a stretch, but how this connects to Israel. The sacred tree pattern occurs in more than one place. And one of them happens to also be Israel. There's the cube there. So let's put on the circles because the circles really show it. Well, that's not it. So you can see here's Israel. I should put on the border names just in case anyone doesn't know the geography of the area. There it is. So there's the Israel one. I wanted to make this one right over Egypt, and I was like, oh, I want it to be over Egypt. I want it to be over Egypt. But then when I finished drawing it, I was like, fuck, it landed here. But still, it's like, I don't know. I think that's still kind of neat how Israel has its own gravity well. Maybe that's why the Holy Land was where it is. You can see how like the rivers and everything kind of line up with it too. It splits the land in a lot of spots. Yeah, obviously Saudi Arabia, they got their own cube as well, like the Mecca cube. Let's see where the Mecca cube lands. I don't think it lands right in it, but I just thought it interesting that Mecca in Saudi Arabia has a cube, and it's not actually that far from the actual World Tree Cube. So there's Mecca, and it's just below the cube. Like there's the closest part of the cube, there's Mecca. So it's kind of interesting. The Mecca cube isn't really that far from that cube. Australia's got a cube as well. You can see this pattern is pretty universal around the planet, so there's obviously going to be more than one cube. Yeah, so there's different cubes in different areas. Oh yeah, Canada's west coast. People probably want to see that cube. That's where this one comes in. There's the top right corner of the cube. And which is this? Are all the border names gone? No, they're back. I don't know. It's like not giving me the cities. Oh, well. Pieces of shit. Is that it? Anyways. Yeah, so that's that cube. I think I answered the question. I'll just reread it, make sure I did. Oh, yeah, the line's in Israel. Okay, so Emily's saying the Mexico tsunami warning. Holy shit. Oh, man, I sure hope my friend doesn't have any problems with the freaking tsunami or anyone else. Not that I only care about my friends, but... Oh, God. All right, so let's go to the I Felt It reports. I'll bring it actually on the screen so everyone can see it. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, let's go to the I Felt It reports and see if anyone's talking about the... What do we got here? Mexico, 3 hours, widely felt. If anyone's talking about the tsunami yet. Because I'm pretty sure if you felt a tsunami, you would add it to the... Well, unless you got drowned in it, but... If you saw the tsunami, then yeah, you would add it. So that person was 7.5 of the epicenter. 1 minute of shakes right on the coast, Hotel Mirando. So if anyone's heard of that hotel, or Miranda... That's the one that seems to have gotten hit the worst. Holy fuck, man. It's already 1 in the morning. Jesus. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in so long. I was in the shower and the door. Let's make it bigger so everyone can see it. I won't say it this time. All right, our house seemed to be swinging in a circular motion for 60 seconds. Oh yeah, we already read that one last time. Here it is, the shower. I was in the shower and the door started rolling open and closed on its own. Holy, can you imagine how freaky that would be? Then the walls of the shower were moving. I felt like trying to walk on a boat. Or it felt like. Wow. There's the building that swayed side to side. That's what freaks me out, because I've been in buildings that swayed in dreams before, and it's a horrible feeling. Like you're just standing in the building, and all of a sudden the walls start shifting, and everything goes over, and then it shifts all back the other way. It's like such a weird feeling. Man. He felt like he was in a boat on a lake with gentle waves. Wow. Sorry about these ads. No, I guess you should check out the ads if you have time. Significant earthquake reported just northeast of where? Is that an old one? Oh, near Fishhook, Alaska? That can't be today. No, that was back in May. I don't know why they're showing that. Alright, so let's go to the home. Geology, earthquake, volcanoes. I don't see anything about tsunamis, sadly. I'll have to try to find one for tsunamis. Yeah, we do got a volcano database on Google. I can check that out as well. Alright, so I don't have any more information on the tsunamis. I'll try to get that for a future show. Alright, so we looked at the lines in Israel, checked the tsunamis. Whoa, about the statue lines. Yeah, I appreciate that. It kind of freaks me out too. Like, I don't know, like how many people realize that there's people on the planet that know about gravity wells and they're not telling anyone, and they freaking designed their entire like cities around it. Unless it was just all a coincidence. I guess it could be a coincidence, but I don't know. That'd be pretty fantastic. Especially when the September 11th attacks all occurred on one of the lines. Wow, so weird. Oh, yeah, it's almost the anniversary of September 11th. I actually watched those attacks live on CNN. At least the second tower I watched fall live. I still have post-traumatic stress from it. It's fucking weird, right? Like so many years later. What is it? Like 20-year anniversary. Still have fucking stress about it. Every time I even talk about it, my voice starts cracking up. Alright, so let's see. We did that. We checked out the statues. Oh, Alec, he wants to know what my dream team would be for red clones. I don't have time to do that today because I got... Well, actually, we can do it quick. I would do all Suzo. No, I'm just kidding. Now, probably some Suzos and a healer, just because he's my most best attacker. I don't know. I used to make fun of Suzo because he wasn't very strong. But man, once I got him leveled up, holy crap, did he ever get strong quick. Yeah, so here's the Arctic Circle line. And you can sort of see, like... This is where the scientists all wanted to make it. They wanted to make it a round circle. So that's why they drew it with a lot of their maps. What they didn't realize is that it's not really a round circle. When you have the actual gravity well field, you can see it's not supposed to be round. It's supposed to be a square or cube. So that's what it used to be before, when all that was over here. It got smashed by the change in our planet. I don't know, man. That's going to be wild once Google starts to add the actual full magnetic trace, so we can see that it actually did follow this whole weird pattern. And the whole reason it's doing that is because it's doing it on the bottom too. Everyone always talks about the North Pole shift, but they never talk about how the South Pole one shifts also. It's not just a North Pole phenomenon. I don't get it too. Like, how many people live in Australia, and do they even know that their continent used to be attached to Antarctica, and that it's like roughly the same size? Well, if you merged it with Zealandia. Oh, and if anyone wants a quick look of where I think Atlantis is, maybe we'll finish on that. Because Atlantis was apparently sunk by a bad earthquake. So, as you can tell, my map has like weird spots that sort of point up. Like this is the Bay of Biscay in France. This is like this giant spot here. So what is this? Like, doesn't this look like it should be another spot? Well, guess what this spot is? Once I had this spot, I zoomed in and I got freaked out. So let's freak everyone. No, I don't want to freak people, but... Oh yeah, I have the names off, so I'll have to turn it on. And you can see how some of the lines even line up with it, right? Like on the actual ocean floor. Alright, so let's show everyone what is there. Yeah, this was the weirdest thing, because unless I had this map, I would have never zoomed in on this location, and I would have never found what's on the bottom of the ocean. So let's go check what it is. Dun dun dun. Oh wait, places, that's outdated. Borders, labels. I don't know, it says it's outdated, but the other one's not working, so maybe they removed it. And luckily I kept the old one. So you see what this name is? It's called the Schwabenland Seamount. Does anyone know what Schwabenland is? You know how like the Nazis did expeditions and stuff? Turns out they went on an expedition to look for Atlantis, and they were going to call it Schwabenland because that's where they believe like the Aryan history or whatever. I'm not even familiar with that too much, so... Anyways, what it was is when I found Schwabenland, I typed it in and I found out it was the Nazis that discovered this, and they called it a circular island chain that had sank recently. And by recently, they mean like within 1,000 or 2,000 years. So there used to be a giant circular island chain. You can even see it, right? So this is like a giant circular island chain that sank, that the Nazis named after Atlantis. And if you want to look into the records to find out, like, how did anyone find out the Nazis named it this? Turns out there was a fleet of ships that were fishing at the Bouvet Island, and they encountered the Nazis. So they actually saw them do the expedition here. So the Nazis pretty much threw out all their data that showed this was Atlantis. The only thing that we have left is the accounts from the Bouvet Island fishing crew. So isn't that weird? So anyways, let's show a picture of what ancient people thought Hyperborea looked like. And Hyperborea is like another mystical continent that some people think is Atlantis. So let's bring that and put it over this and see what it looks like. Yeah, how many people tuned in for earthquakes and now you're on a little tale of Atlantis? But we'll finish with Atlantis. Why not? Because it connects to earthquakes, right? Alright, so let's see. Image files. Where's Atlantis? Atlantis. Zealandia, Bosnia, Adoran, heat anomaly, Venus. Ah, here it is. Hyperborea. So if I took Hyperborea, which some people think is Atlantis, and put it over, you can see that it has like this weird like circular spot here. That's on here. And what else was there? Oh yeah, the African continent. Here, let's make the image a little darker. I can barely see it. There we go. Now we can see it better. So you see how Africa and its tip looks like just like the tip of Africa and Hyperborea. And they showed that they're... Oh, fuck, I'm moving it now. I should have closed that. Ah, damn. Oh, well. So you can see, like, if the planet was smaller, not only would Africa align with this part of Hyperborea, but also would it Antarctica. Antarctica lines up with this. And then this weird, like, ditch pattern here, that's also on there. This weird indent. Let's put the circles on, because the circles really imitate or illustrate it. Actually, no, it doesn't really too much, but let's remove some of this stuff so we can see it. Yeah, this circle here, there it is. Remove the circles. Fuck. There they are. All right, so let's remove them. So there is like a circular weird pattern right there, which is kind of off of where Hyperborea said it was. And you can tell that the way I try to distort this map to fit on, it's not working too well because the map is all distorted, like bent out of shape. So I'm pretty sure if it was like perfect match, one would line right up with this. This continent would line up with this. And Africa would line up with that. And it shows that the planet used to be smaller. And then all of these continents would be closer together. And then this would be the continent of Atlantis. So who knows? Maybe that was the big earthquake that occurred when the South Pole split in half. And when it did, the planet grew larger and Atlantis sank. That's one of my latest theories. It could be way off. I come up with a new Atlantis theory every year, so so don't take it with a grain of salt, that's for sure. So if anyone's wondering what this map is, you can check it out there. I think it's like a really old map. Could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe it's a science fiction guy that drew it, but either way, it's the map of Hyperborea, and it matches very close to it where I believe Atlantis is. Oh yeah, and then you get all these weird ridge lines and stuff. If you look at the ocean floor, it does map that general direction pattern. So it's like a lot of the ways, like the currents and stuff, are all going towards the center. A lot of the map on the actual Earth is all going to the center. So let's bring up the crust lines and see where Atlantis was on the crust. Like today's modern crust. Let me close this. For now, there it is. Where's the crust? Plate boundaries, there it is. So you can see Atlantis is very damn close, especially if the Earth was smaller. It would be right over top, right over that line. So this whole area would definitely be rocky, right? Like you got all these plate lines connecting right together. I don't know, let's put up some history of earthquakes, see if there's any near Hyperborea. I think they're not in modern time, but they used to be a long, long time ago. So they won't be on this map, but we'll check it anyway. Yeah, so Atlantis hasn't really been too rocky, but you can see the actual areas around it have been. So if it like sunk in, like made the Earth smaller, this would definitely be a hotbed for earthquakes, right? So I don't know if anyone's ever heard some pretty wild theories about Atlantis. This is probably the wildest one yet. I know a lot of people are into Atlantis research. I'll try to do more about it again in a future show. I've definitely got more material about it, but man, as you can tell, I've been like holding this to go to the washroom for like an hour. How long have we been streaming? Holy shit, 2.5 hours. All right, let's close that, and we'll just bring up the earthquake map one more time. Or no, let's bring up, we'll finish with Atlantis on the screen. Hyperborea, the earthquakes, the earth crust lines, and let's go for the actual modern earthquake stuff. Excuse me. Alright, so first thing I'm probably going to do when I wake up tomorrow is I'm going to check this map again, or this earthquake stuff, and if there's any big updates, I'll do another show right when I wake up. But if not, I'll probably be switching over to Clone Evolution, do an episode for that. Let's pray that really the New Madrid fault line doesn't go off, because man, as we showed in the chat before, if the New Madrid quake does go, we're looking at a damage circle like that big. So that's a freaking huge damage circle. Not to mention like how many major cities are in there. I think, what was it, St. Louis was in there or something. How many others, I don't know. But Toronto was rocking last time this happened. So if it rocked all the way to Toronto, we're looking at the entire East Coast is going to be rocking. And all the gas between the fault lines is gone. So no more lube. It's going to be a little bit rougher ride. It's hopefully not too shaky. But sorry for the grossness. I got to get my mind out of the gutter. All right, so nuclear power plants. And that's what also we're really facing. because all these nuclear power plants got giant piles of nuclear waste piled right next to the reactors because the US has nowhere to bury it. Canada actually has the same problem, and guess where we put all the waste? We put on the shore of the Great Lakes, or at least Justin Trudeau tried to, but thank God the First Nations people fought him. They're like, dear God, Justin, what is wrong with you? Why would you put all the nuclear waste on the fucking shore of the greatest lake? Like, you idiot. It's almost like he was trying to destroy our country on purpose, right? I don't know. The way the Canadian election is going, I'm almost tempted to vote for Justin still because I want to see what he'll do next. No, I'm just kidding. No, it will make one hell of a video if he did. All right, so yeah, that's the information, and yeah, let's just hope New Madrid is going to be okay. Is that the New Madrid one? Yeah, it is. So we got the 9th. So that's all we got for quakes here. They've been steadily increasing. Let's hope it doesn't increase any bigger than that. Keeping our fingers crossed, everyone. Let's hope the New Madrid quake does not go. And the only good thing to look forward to is if it does go, hopefully I can do a live stream. No, just kidding. If the whole entire grid doesn't go down. So yeah, good luck everyone. Hopefully everyone's got a little bit of supplies ready just in case of any emergency. Couldn't hurt to have like a backup plan in case there's a fire, earthquakes, tsunamis. You never know, right? Especially if you live in a bad area. And don't freak out. You don't have to store like hundreds of years of food. Because you got to remember, like, food only lasts so long. So don't get carried away with that kind of stuff. And don't be freaking out and making out with everyone you see. Unless you talk to me first. No, just kidding. Alright, so let's stop joking and let's wrap up the show. If anyone likes my research and wants to help me in some ways, I'll show you some ways people help me. And most of these people are helping for video game stuff, so they're not really into gravity wells, but I'll show it anyways because they're still supporting me. And not by much, but it helps. Every little does. Alright, so thanks again, Suki, Dan, Jim, Ray, Travis, and everyone at Patreon. If you want to donate to Patreon and you don't have money to keep it going, don't worry. I'll actually keep your name on the list, even if you have to quit. So it's just a list of all-time patrons, not just the ones that are active. I think I only have 2 that are still active, but I appreciate everyone. Alright, so let's go look at the other stuff I got. Yeah, let's go with the affiliate links. Alright, we covered Patreon. Society 6 is a store. You've probably heard of it. I got my merch on it. Finishing quick is my specialty. It's a saying I put on t-shirts and bed sheets. It's both popular with the ladies. Hideout TV will pay you to watch videos. And it's basically a service sort of like YouTube. Instead of splitting the ad revenue with just the YouTube creator, they give a portion to the viewers and the creator. So I think that system is a little bit better than YouTube because then the viewers actually get money. So if you're into a kind of system like that, just remember that if you watch Hideout TV on like a Google Fire Stick or Amazon Fire Stick, it actually pays more. So yeah, if you're watching it on just a regular computer, it pays a little. But if you can get some way to watch it on Amazon Fire Sticks, I heard it pays way more. I'm not sure because I don't have an Amazon, but hopefully I get one soon. Anyways, Swagbucks, that's one of the services that'll pay you to shop. So how that works is if you're shopping online, you know how Google and everyone keeps track of all your purchases and they never give you any of the money back, like for all this data they collect? That's what Swagbucks does. They're basically collecting the same data everyone else does, except they give you a portion of money back. So if you're doing purchases, it'll ask you like, what did you purchase? Did you like it? And in exchange, you get a cashback reward. So it's a pretty wild system. I hope it expands in the future. And GameKit is a service that'll pay you to try video games. How that one works is video game companies realize, like drug dealers and like Moderna people, no, I just shouldn't say that, is if they get people hooked onto something, they're willing to keep doing it. So what GameKit realized is, hey, we can pay people to try games, and game developers will give us money to try to get people to try the game because they're hoping people get hooked and deposit. So if you try GameKit and you don't like the game, you can just beat it to whatever offer they have, and then you collect money back, and you don't even have to deposit. You can just be like, I didn't like that game, let's try a new one. So you don't actually have to get hooked to get paid. That's just how GameKit works. So free Bitcoin is like a wallet system for crypto. If you want to try crypto out, you've never had any money in crypto and you don't have any to deposit, free Bitcoin actually gives you loot boxes. So you can open these loot boxes for free and they got tiny bits of free Bitcoin, like the actual Bitcoin pennies, Satoshi. So you can take all these pennies of Bitcoin, add them up in your wallet and then start betting it. They have like different casinos, or you can just save it. You can put it in a savings account that collects interest. So that's pretty cool. I like to think that that could help viewers as well. I use it a little bit. To be honest, I haven't made a lot, but if you actually share it like on your channels and you get a whole bunch of people that sign up, you get referral bonuses. So that's where you could actually make some decent money with free Bitcoin. Unless you're into the gambling and you get really good luck and win, but I've never had luck gambling, so I just stick with the actual savings account version. But there's also one for BetFury, and BetFury is the same thing, except it uses all different currencies. So like Ethereum, Dogecoin, or whatever it's called. So it's not just Bitcoins. So if you want to try BetFury as well, and just keep in mind, you got to follow all your regional laws. So if you're not allowed to use crypto, then don't use those. And same with all the other things. Oh yeah, including the virtual mate sex machine. It's perfect for lockdowns. If you're stuck inside for like 2 years and you're single and you're not allowed to leave the house, there you go. The virtual mate sex machine is one of the best things on the market these days. It's actually pretty good. And it's $10 off from a coupon code they sent the show. So a big thanks to Virtual Mate. They like our YouTube stuff, advertising them, so they sent us a coupon code. Yeah, so it's a coupon code for a purchase of 150 or more, you get $10 off. May not seem like a lot, but hey, it's better than no coupon code. Oh yeah, and the coupon code they sent is Lying BS. No, it's not Lying BS, it's LYNBSN. So it just sounds like Lying BS, but it is real. All right, oh yeah, and if ladies need a sex machine, they know who to call. Just kidding. All right, so let's go. My website is on there as well. Let's wrap up and give a shout out to all the people in the chat today. Almost forgot. All right, so who do we all have in the chat today? Let's check. All right, so we got Emily. So thanks a lot, Emily Ball. Really appreciate it. She had some amazing comments and questions, even the Edgar Casey stuff. And yeah, good luck, Emily. Hopefully New Madrid won't be bothering you anytime soon. You can just enjoy the wild theories of what could happen in future generations. Hopefully it's like in the distant future. Hopefully the Earth won't even be populated anymore. We'll have already moved to better planets. So by the time this thing goes, hopefully we won't even be here. So S-Mode, thanks again, S-Mode. He's got some good comments too. Can't remember all of them. Oh yeah, the eviction papers. We got talking about Georgia Guidestones. All right, Alec McQueen. He says that his family is the Freemasons and he kind of likes some of this information. So I appreciate that. Now you'd be surprised. I get some Freemasons that hate my work and others love it. So it's another one of those mixed bags. I kind of expected that. Not everyone's going to love what you do, right? And I shared some information at conventions, and even Freemasons came by and said hello. They said as long as I'm not selling their work, they don't mind that I share some of it. So big shout out to those guys. Came to the convention, said they don't mind if I share it. No, I try to give all my information away for free. The only thing I do is I do have a little bit of offers, but these offers are ways that other people can try to help themselves as well. Not trying to just milk it. All right, so Emily Ball, S-Mode, and Alex McQueen. So thanks, everyone. Let's give them a hand of applause. Right, and if anyone wants to see more Gravity Well episodes, don't forget to like and share the video. And yeah, just put in the comments you want to see more. And I'm usually doing these episodes alone, unless there's some sort of like disaster that's occurring. I can get some viewers in to watch. So I don't know if you want to join just for like regular episodes when we don't have any disasters occurring. I could do that too. And we can start talking about all the different questions. People want to see cities, earthquakes, different alignments on different planets. You can check it all out. I usually work, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. And I also do PSW volunteer work. So that's roughly my schedule. If you want to do anything on the days off, that's usually when it works better. My PSW work, I live with my uncle and help take care of him. He's almost completely paralyzed, his whole body, and can't make it to the washrooms and stuff. So I'm home a lot. So Yeah, so I could do shows all the time. I got to carry him to the washroom. I'm the only person strong enough in our family to carry him while it has the time. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And I got a bad concussion a few years ago, and I didn't recover quite well from it. So being able to work after my uncle or helping him sort of helped me at the same time, because it gave me something I can do where I don't feel so useless. Yeah, and then I guess we'll wrap up because, damn, I got to go to the washroom and it's 1:30. So thanks, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate it. Bye for now. I'll finish with my commercial for my vaporizer invention. I probably shouldn't air it, but it can also be used as, those potpourri things, how they spray your room full of like fresh air. So you don't actually have to use it for weed. Some people actually do use it for weed because they realize they can. But yeah, I recommend just using it as a potpourri machine. Anyways, we'll show the commercial for that. And how it works is you just put dry plant matter inside of the Extreme Q, goes through, makes some pretty cool oil. Takes a lot of months to make it, but damn, is the oil good when it does. All right, so let's finish with the vaporizer. See you, everyone. Bye for now. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you're not into vaporizers or potpourri machines, see you later. Bye for now. Later. Oh yeah, my product actually isn't out yet. I'm just advertising it in case I do release it one day. Hopefully. Holy shit, we made it up to 4 likes. Thanks, everyone. Wow. Yeah, let's hope. God, New Madrid. New Madrid. Oh yeah, and if you could help follow the Vaporizer on Facebook or YouTube, just type it in, you'll find it. Thanks, everyone.